PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. This is day 2 finals, and joining me tonight is the incredible DK. Hello, DK.
What's up, Green? Excited to be here again as we are going to get closer and closer to day number 3. Day number 3 is just around the corner, but before we get there, of course, we are going to have to jump through quite a few other loops, right? We have to jump through quite a few matches to see what we have, any crazy major upsets. And of course, if you missed day number 1, how dare you, right? Just go back, watch the stream, watch the last bit to see how crazy these teams were performing. But I think, Green, coming into today, it is going to be hot. It's going to be spicy, and the pressure, it's going to be like really high up as well.
Yes, yesterday was so incredible. Two teams had winner chicken dinners back to back. We had iNCO and then straight out of NEPAL. Oh, they brought the heat, they brought the firepower, they brought the nades. It was incredible. It
was. We also have the teams up in case our viewers are unsure as to who is all participating in these games here today. Of course, as we know, we've worked our way through the qualifiers to get up into this position. And there we have it, right? All our teams. We did also then see that the players from Luna, they are now called Legion Zen, as they are looking to bring a little bit of that balance back in, right? Putting all your objects in the right places, facing in the right directions when getting ready to move into the game. It's going to be important as we will be making our way through the 5 matches here today. Again, it is going to be Erangel, Rondo, Miramar, another Rondo before heading back into Erangel. So a nice little bit of a change that we have coming through here as we will have Miramar in that middle game. So I want to see how that double dose of Miramar and Erangel is going to bode here, because as we know, and as we said a few times, Erangel, the bread and butter of PUBG, but when it comes to Rondo, it's going to become the new staple.
Oh, Rondo just has so many exciting plays. It brings in so many more dynamics to it, from the double flight path all the way down to the end zones. We've got the dynamic topology where they can dig into it, they can hide into where the nades hit, they can bring down the emergency covers. There's so much to Rondo. There's some of these windows the teams can't get through, so they're still learning this, so it's still a learning curve for some of these teams as well, and we're seeing that. We are seeing just how the way they play that it's a learning curve for them.
Yeah, it's going to be quite a bit of a challenge, but we like to see that for the teams, everybody being put through the ringer here. But yeah, I think today is going to be a big one. So I'm curious as to what the chat thinks, right? If you have any predictions, any outcomes that you would like to see come through here, be sure to let us know in the chat. Give your team a big shout out, show some love. But yeah, it is just us waiting now to see exactly what is going to be coming through. Of course, we'll be taking a look at those points as well from yesterday to get a good idea as to who needs to do what to get themselves secured moving into these next few phases. But I think especially with, 2 Erangels, 2 Rondos, we might see some absolutely phenomenal bits of gameplay coming through. Because if you remember yesterday, we did see the team sitting at the top of the leaderboard, sitting there with a very, very comfortable 100+ points. So I expect that to be the case for a few more teams today. But as we know, it is going to be a little bit more challenging to play that catch-up game because there is quite a bit of a gap currently on the rankings.
Yes, but I think that Rondo, if these teams can get those points, some of these teams that we've been talking about on that right side, they really have a chance to catch up. You got to remember, yesterday, they got 100 points, over 100 points. So some of these teams, they are able. We have seen that, DK. We've seen that these teams are capable of that.
Yeah, and of course, speaking about that capability, there we have it, iNCO sitting up in on 100 points. Alpha 7, just a few behind them, 15 point difference there. If it was 50, I'd be quite stressed because 1, how did they do that? And 2, yeah, good luck to everybody else. I mean, it is almost 50 points between that 1st and 5th place, as the Influence Rage will have to bring quite a little of that pressure in onto the battlefield. But we were speaking about this yesterday. Our 4 teams that got the victories throughout the games yesterday are all sitting well and comfortable within that top 4 slot. So it is going to be pretty tough for anybody else to try and catch up with the top 3, I would say, particularly, especially looking at the gap between Straight Outta Nepal and, of course, Action Esports, 11 points. It doesn't seem like much, but looking at the way the top 3 has been playing their games, it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge here. And Action, again, holding true to that same kind of pacing that we've seen from them come through from the league stage. 44 eliminations, essentially the third most aggressive team that we have in this lobby. But again, placement points seem to be eluding them, at least for the time being. So hopefully today they can look to piece that all back together and come through even stronger. But yeah, for today, it is going to be exactly that. The opportunity for teams to try and secure as many points as they can possibly find. And of course, you were talking about this yesterday as well, Green. The teams sitting over towards that lower side of the right, we want to see them up the ante, right? So that would include VRZ, I would say Game On, Zero Mercy, Legion Zen, and then, of course, the players from Almost There, right? Those teams, I want to see what their approach will be to the battlefield, because after today, tomorrow is the last day, right? And there's a lot coming through tomorrow. Tomorrow we have got the Golden Rule kicking in. We've got Smash Rules kicking in tomorrow as well. So whatever these teams would like to accomplish, today would be the day, because tomorrow the odds of that is going to become increasingly more challenging.
Yes, and we know that they can do it because we watched them through the continental stage. These teams have the skills. They have what it takes to get them more points, more eliminations, placement points, all the points that they could use. They can do. They've got it, but I'm not sure where their momentum is. Maybe I don't know. I don't know, DK, but I'm hoping today that we'll see something. Do you think it's going to be an aggressive day, or do you think it's going to be a strategy day? What do you think?
No, today aggression has to be the way to go, right? Because if your strategy is not aggression, you got to make it that, because that's the only way that you'll be able to contend against those teams already sitting very high up on the rankings. Because if we look at the difference between 1st and 18th, right, it's a lot of points. It's 109 versus 17 points. So it's like, what, 92 points? It is quite a bit of a gap to try and close. So the pressure is going to be exceptionally high for those teams over on the right-hand side if they don't bring in aggression. That is going to be the secret here today, that extra bit of sauce that you need to bring onto the battlefield. Speaking about sauce, these players here, they are just absolutely filled up with it, as you can see. iNCO, Alpha 7, Action, and Straight Outta Nepal, all having their representatives on this graphic right here, with McGrellan being our leading MVP so far. 21 eliminations ahead of Vitali. We got Carrillo, we got Felipin, and of course we got Blaze on here as well. So all these players trying to do everything they can to not only secure strong points for their teams, but also a few bragging rights, I would say, right, for that MVP position as well.
Yes, and they have been unstoppable. What do you get when you get the unstoppable against the unmovable? You get McGrellan with 2,800 damage, almost 2,900 damage, 14 nades. Now that kind of surprises me, because I feel like these teams were just bringing those minis, red zones, especially the end zones where they were pushing them back and moving them out behind cover. They were doing such incredibly intelligent plays, and I'm really surprised to see that the grenade use is only 14. I would have expected a lot more from this.
Yep, it is going to be an exciting one to see if anybody else could maybe play a serious game of catch-up. But, of course, looking at the overall points that we saw come through for iNCO, right, sitting on 63 eliminations total, it makes sense to see so many of their players being quite high up with regards to the overall MVPs. So if anybody wants to catch them, they know what they got to do, right? If Action wants to catch them, Action will have to start prioritizing that survival as well. They need to make it into those much later stages. We did see them, of course, coming through with that winner chicken dinner at the end of the day. So they've shown us that they can do it. But now They got to focus on that consistency. And I think especially coming into today, this is where a lot of the point situation could start to change up for so many of the teams. Because if they come in with the right mentality, especially into this day, coming in with a little bit of that, I would say, shock and awe approach, it could definitely benefit them quite well because they have the opportunity to catch other teams off guard, right? Because we've seen this happen time and time again where if a team, especially at the start of the event, comes in super aggressive, right? They kind of just put everybody else on a bit of a back foot, and that actually buys them quite a bit of an opportunity, right? It's been working for iNCO so far. It's been working for Alpha 7. Action, they've also been doing pretty well with that exact same strategy. But let's see if more teams can look to adopt that. I mean, straight out of Nepal, they take a little bit of a different approach, right? They go for that more strategic split between the aggression and, of course, that zone positioning, right? They have already been able to secure themselves 2 winner chicken dinners just here in the finals yesterday. So it shows you that the balance is there, right? They had 37 eliminations, 33 placement points. So it is essentially a pretty even approach that straight out of Nepal is bringing through. But if they want to try and beat the other teams, well, they just have to outmaneuver them, right? Try and beat them at their own game. And then, of course, bring a bit of their own element to that as well. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm expecting a lot of chaos, a lot of carnage coming through here today.
I agree 100%, and I'm just really enjoying watching how these teams solve these problems. Like Action, when they came in towards those final zones, they had that 2-2 split over at that Roz Recall and Watertown, and they used the nades to push. Was it Team Salami? I don't remember which team it was at the moment, but they pushed them forward out of Watertown, and then they were able to take over Watertown. Team Salami got eliminated, so that moved them up in the eliminate or in the placement. So I am just really enjoying watching how these teams, iNCO constantly taking over center zone, even as a duo. iNCO was unstoppable yesterday. Straight out of Nepal. Perfect positioning. Also, I mean, I think that's why they're all at the top.
Yeah. There's a certain strategy that just works, and currently a few teams are employing that. So, yeah, I want to see a little bit more being brought to the battlefield. And then, of course, there's one team in particular that I want to see make it at least up into 8th place, right? Because that's where placement points starts kicking in. And, of course, that would be none other than Resilience, because we saw in the rankings that they have only eliminations counting for them so far. So the pressure is going to be on here, but we are going to be starting our first match as we head over into Erangel. We can see the approach coming through from that southeastern side as we got the lovely container yard just below us over there. So we are heading up to what seems to be almost center north. And this will allow for some interesting positions for the teams to get themselves situated and lined up. But now the question is going to be, where will they look to go? Will there be any hot drops? And of course, what is that zone going to do?
Yeah, I'm feeling like this is going to be the zone that I called yesterday over at the quarry in that western edge of Sosnovka military base. But we'll have to see, because I keep getting surprised to get it just centers up around that Yasnaya Pachinki Milta Power area. And it's not a bad thing because it gives these teams more chance to loot. But I feel like I wanted the rougher zones in the beginning day to make these teams really gain some momentum, and today let them have those center zones so they can really center in, focus, and get the job done, DK.
Yeah, well, let's see. Maybe that has happened already. We do see Faction now finding themselves with a bit of an interaction as the zone is going to be centering up. Ooh, actually quite decently right onto where a lot of the teams already find themselves situated. So Rozok, School, all of these positions are going to be quite contentious. We do see quite a bit of pressure now going to be coming through. Team Liquid already finding themselves in a bit of a hot situation here, as they are going to try and stand off against the advances coming through from straight out of Nepal. Either side looking for an angle, but straight out of Nepal already coming through with that first elimination. Mythic is down. So Team Liquid, this is going to take a little bit of focus for them to pull this one out of the bag.
Yes, and straight out of Nepal, they do like to drop here, so this is a normal drop for them. They know the angles, they know what needs to be done, they know how to defend Milta, and I'm not sure if this was a play by Team Liquid to slow them down because they are so high on the leaderboard. But straight on the ball, we do have XP3. We've got Blaze up on that MVP. So this team is fired up. Let's hope that the momentum from yesterday keeps them rolling, because they've already XP3 already getting one from Team Liquid.
And they get more though. Resilience, as I mentioned, they need to go for placement points here. Any placement points would work. But now, will Faction allow that to happen? As you can see, Faction, at least 3 of their players ahead of us. We, of course, did see that first hit coming through quite early on. Madion, for the Resilience side, has been found. As Fasto is the first one out here. But can Lennox and the race now lock it in 2 squads? The player down on either end. The pressure's kind of just riding on Faction here, Green. Like, can they push through this? Can they maybe get the angle on Resilience? Or is this that opportunity for Resilience to really start picking up a bit of momentum?
I think we were hearing some of those third-party shots, too, from the East Raz area. So these teams have to be careful not only with each other, but the third parties that are already coming in. And I just saw a little flash. So, yeah, there's a team right across the way. So they were taking the shots over onto here, slowing this push down from both of these teams over here in the school apartments.
Well, let's see if Milta is going to be a good spot, though. I like that hovercraft coming in. We can see XP3 is going to be cooking something up. So if Ayala's not careful, their opportunity to hop onto that hovercraft might not come through. As Chowski is going to be on that far end. Oliver looking to just navigate their way through all the different compounds. They've spotted out the hovercraft. This could maybe be a bit of a challenging angle now for Team Liquid to play through, as Blaze is going to be held up right here alongside the compound. Oh, this could be it. The shots already starting to fly on through. That hovercraft up in flames. It is going to go boom any second now. So Chowski needs to be very cautious how they move through this. If they want to keep that hovercraft, they're going to have to find a way to bring in a lot of opposition against the side here of straight out of Nepal. Is going to be Chief, though, to find Oliver and Wolf, but can Chief lock it in? Oh, XP3 goes down. And that is, well, the answer, right? Team Liquid saying, you know what? No, we're just going to keep on trying to lock it in. It is up to Blaze to see, can they carry their team further into this match?
Wow, that was a 3v3, and I'm really surprised that's how it ended. DK, I'm really surprised about that. Whew. All right, so now it is a 1v1 or 1v, what is it? We've got 3 over in Milta, so 1v3 for Blaze. Can Blaze hold them off? But now it does look like the 2 teams over here in the school apartments are really thinking this through, because they also know that there are more teams coming in. It won't just be the third party from East Raz. They're going to have to worry about more teams pulling right up and in on the school area. Now we're down in the Novo. We got Novo fights going on between Team Salame and VRZ. Team Salame did lose a player.
Yep, they did. Let's see, can VRZ continue with the spacing here? Kratos Love is down, as you said. But VRZ trying to find a little bit more of a strategic approach. I mean, I like what the angle there of Kadu is, as Kadu is going to try and play that complete backstab approach here. I mean, this could be quite successful if they can pull it off. But it is going to be go time very soon, as we can see that feed also starting to light up. That is Resilience. Now, feeling a lot of pressure, doubling down, but the hits rain on through as action comes in with a third party. Faction now managing to hold through here. But it is going to be Action looking to jump in on Faction yet again. I love it when these two teams find each other out on the battlefield. But now VRZ, oh, beautiful spray onto Nanus. Straight out of Nepal. Blaze now going to try and send a few nades down low. Looking if they can still defend the edge of the compound. I like this from Team Liquid, though. A full commitment to this. And of course, look at that. It is going to be TGAMES coming through with a cheeky third party as NC7 locks it in, and there we have it. It's now Cantera here trying to bring their teammate back into the fight, as it will be Salame trying to push on forward. Both teams now fighting out in the blue. Those health bars not looking all too great, but who will be the one to rotate out of Novo Repnoya? Is it going to be Team Salame, or will it be VRZ?
Oh! VRZ. VRZ just barely. Look at that. He made it with like 2 HP, and that health bar is still bouncing, and we are only in phase 1. He knows he's got to get healed up, and he's also got to get his player up if they want a chance of coming into these later stages. We're only in phase 1, so the rest of the game as a duo, he's got to move fast.
Yep, that is going to be a pretty long and lengthy rotation. 1.2 kilometers that they need to try and cover. But for the time being, Faction, they have school under their control, as the zone is going to be pulling a little bit more up towards that northwestern side. Action is still going to be holding around, just waiting over towards the east. So they know that there's somebody up ahead of them, so they are going to try and gatekeep a little bit of that rotation. In the meantime, iNCO up into the Yasnaya Poliana fields, just patiently seeing, or waiting rather, for a little bit of action to come their way. Speaking about action, Alpha 7 are looking to rise on up as they found themselves a bit of that almost there action. Oh, it is FR99 going on down. Breather coming through with a beautiful response. It is going to be a knock coming in onto Alpha 7. Oh, the nade is out. Is it going to find Obscure? It does. This is now Carrillo having to try and rescue his squad here, as Wolf is the final defender for the side of Almost There.
And he's also getting shot by iNCO. We saw that those iNCO sprays from across the way. So now Wolf pinched between the solo coming in from Alpha 7 with iNCO at their back. He's trying to get his teammates picked back up, and Alpha 7 already on the move of picking everyone up. But Alpha 7 has the backs clear. iNCO just terrorizing Almost There, and iNCO finishing off Almost There from the third party.
Oh, some beautiful grenades coming through from Alpha 7 as well. As you can see, they're now climbing up to 3. But what is iNCO going to do over here? Will they continue with that reign of dominance that they've been able to show so far? A nice little bit of a cheeky angle that they have there. A good spread coming through from iNCO, making sure that at least as many angles as they can is going to be covered. Action, they've heard a few of the sprays. They are going to come in to inspect here, but they will be ever so slightly weary about a full send, right? They want to gather as much info as they can. In the meantime, Influence Rage could maybe find themselves in a bit of a predicament. We got the Wolves coming through from the south. We got Savage pushing up from the north. So if Law's not cautious here, we could see Law taking a whole bucket full of damage.
Yes, and we do have Savage getting shot at from all these different angles because Influence Rage is pretty spread out over on this far east edge of Yasnaya. So not only are they on the one stack out in the field, but they're also up on top of the station collecting as much information as possible. So we also have Influence Rage, Savage, Esports, iNCO on that western edge. And Yasnaya is a hot place to be.
Yeah, it is going to be sweaty for a little while longer until we see where this next phase will be taking us. As we are just a few seconds away from finding out exactly where that situation is going to be taking the teams. And of course, the zone is going to be pulling back over towards the west. So Influence Rage trying to rotate up in anticipation of that zone shift, but instead it goes in the opposite direction. Now it is going to be Diego coming through, trying to get a little bit of that extra loot situation here. But now, how will iNCO rotate? Are they going to go up towards Stolber, maybe try and play the long game? Or are they just going to hug the northern side? The Wolves at the same time are going to be rotating over along this western front, and this opens up the opportunity now for iNCO to really lay quite a bit of damage into them. As you can see, Doran taking a decent chunk of damage there. We see Coops and Higors also now trying to just find that next safe spot to rotate in, but Don is like, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to try and hide the vehicle, but unfortunately, it's going to be Savage right here alongside them, so they might have been able to evade one team, but there is going to be a few others now situated just north of them. Of course, that could be Influence Rage or the side of, I believe, Alpha 7 also holding just to the north of that waterway.
Yes, I saw Alpha 7 going around towards that backside. Know that Alpha 7 loves to take these third parties. And if the Wolves push up onto Savage, Alpha 7 already getting into that position up on that ridge line just to get into some of these knocks, some of these eliminations. But it does look like Influence Rage went up to Alpha 7 on that north side. So we've got teams all clustered right here in this Yasnaya Lake area.
Yeah, I think that is going to be a little bit of a saving grace for the Wolves, seeing that Alpha 7 has been able to get that jump, or rather has been able to get jumped by the side here of Influence Rage. So Law and the rest of the crew now just making sure that it is safe on that far northern edge, as the zone is going to be closing up yet again. We will find out in just under a minute exactly where phase number 4 is going to be taking us. But if we look over onto the edge here of Rozok, it is going to be game on, and Team Liquid finding themselves in a bit of a tussle, a bit of a back and forth, trying to push buggies out of the way. But up in center zone, iNCO action and Alpha 7 getting ready to take this party to the next level. I like where the Wolves are as well, with Higors right on the front line there, trying to see, can he secure a little bit of something, maybe a bit of additional information.
Yeah, and I see down in the blue, we still have VRZ trying to come up and through, and they just ran into Legion Zen. Legion Zen really needs these points. The rest of them went up in. They had to sacrifice one of their teammates, and we do have TGAMES right in front of VRZ, and we know that they're probably hearing the shots and getting ready to gatekeep as well. But look where Arizona's gonna go. Let's see. Oh, we still got that river splitting the zone. So we got 9Z Alpha 7. We've got Influence Rage up on that north side of the river, down the south side of the river. We've got the Wolves. We got iNCO. Woo! This is really crushing in our top 14 teams. We've only lost 4 teams at this point.
Yeah, only 4 teams down, but a few more are getting ready to go as well, as Baton now comes rushing forward onto Alpha 7, but unfortunately is going to be found. Down he goes. Wolves now holding on to a 2-piece here. They could maybe look to bring a few reses in. Alpha 7 also going to try and at least secure the eastern side of this bridge, as they know there are still a few teams yet to rotate across the way. Influence Rage now running into 9Z. It is going to be Cold King up on the hill, getting met with quite a bit of aggression, but look at that. Reyes is going to be running them out as they get shipped up and out of here. Ooh, quick push coming through there from Reyes, just making sure that everything is exactly where it needs to be. So good showing there from 9Z. This is also a bit of an opportunity for them to try and improve their overall point standing. Now, Wolves still trying to lock down a bit of a controlling angle here on the very edge of the zone. But their numbers have been brought down to 3. So that does limit the approaches they have available to them. But speaking about limits, right, Legion Zen also in a very difficult spot here. They got TGAMES over on the one side. They've got Faction over on the other. So if they fight, if they choose to engage, they better be ready for another team to respond.
Yes, and look at the Yasnaya, the western edge of Yasnaya. We've got Savage, Wolves, and iNCO out of zone. They all have to push on in. Wolves have already started to gatekeep that bridge, so when 9Z has to come across, we also have game on the other bridge. I'm not sure if it's a troll or if he's just waiting it out, But the strategy these teams have decided to take over on this is incredible. And now Wolves trying to get those shots over onto Savage, and we got Coops getting some points on the board.
Well, love to see that, though. That is definitely going to be the approach to try and take here. But Savage now down to not a goat. Going to be just on the edge of that zone, looking to find a way to get back into safety. But iNCO looking to lock it down here, so it is going to be a rather difficult rotation to secure. In the meantime, iNCO not only looking over in the direction there of not a goat, but maybe considering a bit of an opportunity down in towards the position that Action finds themselves in. There we go. Higors is going to find that final hopeful as Savage now is out of here in 12th place. The Wolves still holding on to the north, but that fifth phase is making its way on through. Alpha 7 still with a big presence just south here of the Wolves. So it is going to make the rotation here for the Wolves a little bit more tough.
Yeah, we can see that Coops is getting ready to go swim across the river and try to block 9Z from coming across this bridge, and the zone does pop again, and 9Z still has a little bit of that ridge line. They're going to have to figure out how they're going to come across, because I'm not sure we're going to... Well, look at this zone. It could go either side at this point. So these teams not only have to push up into the zone, because most of these teams are out of the next play zone, but they also have to push into some of these really dominant teams. Oh, and the Zen Legions and going out. This team needs the momentum. They needed some points, but here comes Faction Brazil trying to stop Team Liquid coming out of Rozhok, but they got up into that woodsy area.
Yeah, so I did mention earlier that Legion Zen is going to find quite a bit of difficulty if any of these teams looks to aggress on them. Well, of course, both the squads decided to push on forward, so things proving to be quite a bit of a challenge here. But let's see, can Faction maybe get the jump onto TGAMES, as both teams will yet rotate on forward. Team Liquid with a nice bit of a setup here. This heal could definitely give them quite a bit of an advantage, especially now with Zero Mercy looking to rotate up as well. And the only way is going to be forward. But where will they go? Because we got Game On alongside them. We've got 9Z there as well. So all the positions already occupied. And this is now Zero Mercy rotating into a slaughter.
Oh, and slaughter it is, because they're trying to push right up into zone where there is no hard cover. Nothing for them to really center around and try to get their health back up. They've got teams up on these ridge lines and just spraying it at that 360. T-Games going out in 10th with 6 eliminations though.
Yeah, 6 eliminations, not going to be a bad place to be. But unfortunately, just falling shy of those placement points. So let's see who can lock it in next. Zero Mercy down to only 1 hopeful, but no eliminations for them just yet. If they want to walk away with points, they're going to have to find a way to either get elimination or make it into the next bit. But here we go. iNCO starting to move up. Looking for an angle over on towards the eastern side. Action just ahead of them. So the opportunity for jumps getting greater and greater here. Team Liquid, though, still capitalizing on this little hill towards the southern side. And this could be quite a bit of an opportunity now for Team Liquid. Because, I mean, looking at the setup, they have a beautiful lay of the land all around them. So that is going to be quite a bit of a contentious position to hold.
Yeah, I'm worried about Team Liquid here, though, because they are downhill. They got to keep an eye on their backs, because the teams behind them, like Team iNCO, will come down and around. iNCO, we already know that they set up before they just let loose. And yesterday, we got to see back-to-back winner chicken dinners from iNCO. Early on, we know that they know how to play Erangel, and here they come right up and onto Action Esports.
Well, let's see. Can Action survive this one? With a solo, rather duo up, it is going to be quite challenging. But maybe if they can get that play up onto 7-8, oh, that could maybe have helped them. But so far, it is going to be Vitali now looking to push on forward as Bob is on the defensive. Trying to dip, duck, dive, and dodge his way on through. But unfortunately, is not going to be able to make it past that 8th place as iNCO ends the run for them right then and there. But there's still a big opportunity, though, for iNCO to bring the remaining 3 players all back into good standing, right? To make sure everybody's health bar is where it should be before they start rotating up.
I think we just witnessed a 1v4 for iNCO pushing up onto action as well. He's got 4 eliminations, able to save 2 of his teammates, but now they are going to be pushing up that hill. But this hill is covered by the wolves on this cross angle. So now, not only do they have Team Liquid in front of them, they've got 9Z GLOBANT in front of them, but they also have the wolves coming up behind them.
Well, let's see now. Can the Wolves get it done here as they are still a little bit away from the action here? It's going to be 9Z GLOBANT though, holding on with 7 eliminations. Currently the aggression leaders, but can they find the necessary angles as they move up behind Team Liquid? I said this was going to be a good position for Team Liquid to hold. 9Z wants it, but will Liquid allow them to take it away from them? Or are they going to put up a fight and look to contest?
And we still have game on over under the bridge. iNCO going out. iNCO just went out in 6th place with 6 eliminations. And now we are down to 9Z. The Wolves, Team Liquid, Alpha 7, and game on. Some big names in this fight. Ooh, game on getting the 3rd party over on the Team Liquid. But can game on get across this wide open field up into where all these teams have already set up?
It's going to be a really tough one here for Game On to secure, especially looking at where the Wolves and 9Z are situated. I mean, they've got such a good controlling angle down onto that western side. Not so much so towards the north, but the west is definitely going to be a great opportunity here for them. The Wolves are trying to figure out how they could get themselves into a slightly better situation. But it is going to be quite tough, especially with Alpha 7 just here alongside them. Koops, though, has a bit of the ridge, so he could still maybe sneak his way on forward. Higors could provide a little bit of that additional information, but Carrillo is going to start to smoke it up as Alpha 7 are prepping for the end game. They are getting ready to defend the compound with everything available to them, but still quite a few threats hanging around. As you can see, Game On now trying to figure out how on earth will they rotate up. Legend has been found, and down he goes. It's now just 2 hopefuls remaining for Game On.
Yes, and we've got 9Z GLOBANT that was able to find them, and they have to move up and into those woods as well. So they're keeping an eye on Game On, because Game On to get that 3rd party away. They get that 3rd party elimination away from them, but they got to push into Alpha 7 and the Wolves on top of watching Game On over on that cross angle. So now we do have Alpha 7 also concentrating down on Game On, because Game On is trying to get these 3rd parties.
Well, you can see things are getting pretty hot when Game On starts dropping their outfits on the floor. They're like, you know what? Wait. Let me focus up. I need to get through this. And it's getting a little bit too sweaty. But let's see now whether or not Alpha 7 can hold on. It is going to be Carrillo trying to come through for the res, looking to bring Guaizo back into the fight. But this now grants a golden opportunity for Game On to get themselves all healed up and patched up and ready to go. The Wolves keeping the pressure pretty high. Nice bit of a distraction here, but it is unfortunate for Game On as they are now down to a solo. But the bombardment raining in onto Higors as Guaizo also gets found. Now the Wolves up to 6 eliminations. And again, the pressure getting applied right back onto Game On as the hopeful has been found. Down to the final 3 we go. It is going to be 9Z. Looking like a pretty strong force here. They've got 10 eliminations. They've got quite a bit of high ground to work with. And now it's all going to be a smooth position here if they can look to capitalize on the angles.
Yes, and I've been watching the statistics up at the top, and it was Alpha 7 all the way, and now suddenly that 9Z GLOBANT has moved up into zone, taking this high ground. They are now up to 41%, statistically speaking, winning this match. We've got Wolves down below them. They've got Alpha 7 down in the dip. We are down to a 3v2.
It's going to be pretty tough odds either which way you look at it. But, of course, as we know, only one team can climb to the tippity top of the leaderboard here. And, of course, only one team can walk away with that winner chicken dinner. It's going to be a pretty tough one, though. As you can see, 31% was on screen just then for Alpha 7 and the Wolves. So some pretty fair odds here. So they both return to that. But it is almost the end of phase number 8. That means the end of the match is in sight. Only a few more moments to go before the game will be forced to end. And now it's going to be anybody's game at this point, right? The odds still stacked in either direction. 9Z still has that one extra player to try and use here, but is that going to mean anything for them? Can they get the plays secured? It's all going to rely on where this next zone shift is going to be taking us. But I think especially looking at 9Z, they have quite a bit of an advantage. They are already well within that zone. And they are now just waiting for Alpha 7 and the Wolves to push forward because that's the only option they have. They are not in the safe region just yet. As there's going to be Coops and he goes now doing what they can. Getting themselves up in a little bit of a shack here. Looking for an angle to try and play off of. But look at 9Z's setup. They've got all 3 weapons pointing down over towards the Wolves themselves. Alpha 7 are going to try and sneak their way up into safety. Carrillo and Obscure trying every tactic they know of to find a good position in the zone.
Yeah, I feel like 9Z still has quite the advantage up on this ridgeline. They are in zone. I was really wondering how the Wolves were going to push across, and they just got their free pass across the road. I'm really surprised about that, but Alpha 7 barely answered that because they were busy watching 9Z from above. Because 9Z, if they overextend any of these ridges, we already know Alpha 7 and the Wolves will shut that overextension down. And the Wolves going out in third with 6th place. We are now down to a 1v3. Alpha 7, so, Carleo getting a knock, but they're run over by Milo. 9Z GLOBANT taking the winner chicken dinner. That was edge of the seat. I did not know which team was gonna get that winner.
Well, let's see how the point situation is going to look after that play coming through from 9Z GLOBANT. I said that they need to try and bring a little bit of something in if they want to play that catch-up game to get closer to the top 3. And I mean, this is exactly the kind of play they needed to secure to have a really strong go at it. But I love what they were able to do there. And I said, right, 9Z, they have the advantage. They've got the numbers. All they got to do now is use it. But it almost came too close. And it was just down to that final play, right? That vehicle doing what it could to just secure the finishing blow and end the run for them. But a very exciting start to day number 2.
Yes, it was. What an ending. So hot. I just wondered how these teams were going to push into this, and I really liked where 9Z just held onto that thicket.
Yeah, they held on to everything they could. But of course, as we look at it right here, it is going to be the breakdown of the eliminations. It is going to be a glorious 13 total points, at least on the aggression side, going over to them. And what a good conversion it has been so far. I mean, not a lot of damage has been dealt by 9Z. Pretty decent serving here. As you can see, only 700 damage going over towards Remix for those 4 eliminations. But Reyes, Milo, and Cole all only hitting under 400 damage apiece.
But they also had 13 or 15 nades. So they were using the nades, they were using their throwables, they were so strategically placed. Line Z GLOBANT coming in with 23 points and 13 eliminations. Alpha 7 also with 13 points and 7 eliminations. And the Wolves coming in third with 11 total points, 6 eliminations. Woo! Yeah, what an ending that was. Now, I want to see these bottom teams. I want to see them getting some of these some placement points, some elimination points. We are headed into Rondo next. So I'm excited to see what this is going to do as well.
I like the fact that VRZ and Game On did bring in a little bit of pressure coming into this first match of the day. Of course, we did see them sitting down in that 15th and 16th position. So I like what they've been doing so far, but they're going to have to bring in a little bit more of that as, we want to see the points. We want to see the teams climb the ladder. And of course, speaking about ladders, here we have it. Game 1 done and dusted. 9Z GLOBANT, 14 eliminations. Who's going to be the team to step up as we head into game number next? It is going to be Rondo, where all the action will be coming from, and we will have a double serving. Yesterday we had a back-to-back play. Today we have a little bit of that Miramar, just looking to create a little bit of a gap here as well. So yeah, Rondo, green, it's going to be a golden opportunity for even more of a jump coming through with regards to that ranking.
Yes, and I'm really hoping that we get to see some changes to these teams, the dynamics that they've been using. I've been seeing there's pretty cheeky plays yesterday. I noticed that some of these teams were dropping where some of the solos will normally go. So you get a solo that goes all the way over to that western edge, and suddenly the solo has 3 players on top of them. So yeah, I've been noticing they are changing up just from the start of last week, DK.
Yeah, I mean, the change is as good as a holiday. And speaking about holidays, we are going to take a break. So be sure to stay tuned, and we'll see you right back on the other side with game number 2.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. Here are the rankings.
Yes, sir. Here are the rankings. No change in the top 4. But 9Z GLOBANT getting really close, jumping all the way up from that 6th place into that lovely 5th position. Influence Rage, of course, as a result, getting moved down just a little smidgen. But the Wolves also coming for it. As you can see, they've jumped from 9th place up into 7th. No change for Team Liquid. Savage also swapping them places with the Wolves. Over on the right-hand side, not a lot has changed. In fact, nothing has changed for the teams on the right. Yes, they've added a few additional points to their overall tally. But aside from that, it is all still same, right? And again, look at that. Resilience still falling short of the placement points. We want to see Resilience show that resilience as they step out onto the battlefield, locking in the points and showing us exactly how strong they can finish this.
Yes, it's really sad to see all those yellow lines over on their right-hand side. I really want to see some green arrows. I want to see some movement this next Rondo match. We know these teams on the right side. We know they can do it. We know they're strong. We know that they got the gun skills, the game sense, the utility usage, the 360 knowledge. But where is it? Come on, all of you. Just get that motivation. Get that momentum going. We are down to the last 4 games of today, DK.
Yeah, and of course it is it's wearing thin the patience and the pressure, right? The teams will have to find something to change it up. Of course, you know, what better map to do it on other than on Rondo itself. So I'm going to be looking forward to seeing how the teams will look to respond and who's going to be looking to find the most heat, as we are going to be stepping into Rondo very soon. But the big question here is, I think, Green, where are the teams going to get themselves situated? Will we have a few of those early clashes coming through? Or will the teams look to take a little bit more of a spread out approach, right? Focus on that loot while at the same time going for a 3-1 drop, because we did see, I would say yesterday, quite a bit of an improvement with regards to how the teams kind of got themselves situated on Rondo. We didn't see as many teams falling in the early stages of Rondo itself. So I think it's going to be quite exciting as the teams now move up. We see a lot more of that Rondo strategy coming through. But of course, the big question still stands, right? Can we see the teams that need the points now being able to secure it coming into the second match here of the day?
Right. There's so many questions I have about this match coming up. I want to see, because Rondo is new, so it's a new meta for all these top America's teams. These are South America, North America, and LATAM top tier teams. These are Brazil PMSL teams, and they are all just learning their metas, and it's just so exciting for me to sit here and watch in it. I just want to see, are we going to have more of these 4v4s in the early? But let's see. Ooh, DK, the double flight pad, just what you always ask for.
Yes, sir. Here we go. So a double whammy of that action, but center zone is going to be hot, as we've got too many teams to count up in that center position. Almost there are going to be losing their first players. We did see Savage looking to strike hard. But now, is there going to be an opportunity for a bit of a rest to come through? Yeah, we do see FR9 all the way up in towards Bamboo. So I believe that almost there is going to look to play their first recall. But now Savage still holding on to a bit of a spread. Look at the players there from Team Salame, as they do have Nanus all the way in the far north. The rest of the team in that complete opposite position up into Rinjiang. So an interesting starting point. I like what Faction is doing as well. They did send Fasto all the way up onto that north as well, while the rest of the team has dropped down on that far southern side. So quite a bit of a strategic repositioning coming through once those hits come in and their players get dropped on down. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but you know what? it's better to be prepared for that regardless. Now, Lennox is going to be the first one down for the side there of Faction, but VRZ going to try and see, can they maybe get the jump in onto Game On over here?
And Game On getting on that rooftop, being able to get those sightlines, being able to see where the players are pushing up and in straight out on the ball right over here with Faction Brazil. We know this straight out on the ball already got an elimination over onto Faction Brazil. Can they get the solo player that's right in between them sandwiched? We got 3 players coming in from each side right on down, but he is down in that groove, and none of them from straight on the ball really want to jump down into that groove and meet something like a DBS to the face.
Well, that can always be quite healthy for you, but you got to watch out just to see exactly how much of that lead you do ingest, right? It is going to drop your health bar quite a bit. But, I mean, what's going to happen here between straight out of Nepal and, of course, that solo coming through from the faction side, as they are opting for a little bit more of a spread? We do see Federal and 9Z also getting into a bit of an altercation. It's going to be INF and 9Z trying to play their way through, but is Federal rather going to be able to maybe come through with a bit of a response? He has been brought back on his feet. Diego quickly trying to get an angle there over on towards Reyes. But now, Alpha 7, Game On, getting ready to get stuck in. VRZ, they've rotated around just up towards that slightly more southwestern position. You can see Cantera also now looking to lock in with the rest of the squad. But Game On now absolutely encircled here, and Bailey is going to be a pretty tough spot to play through.
Yes, and I love seeing how they are all pushing up and in now. Here comes Revo coming right up and in onto VRZ. But Game On is not that far away. You can see that Game On is over on this western edge of the city. So we got the nades coming out once again from Revo. But Revo's got to watch his back because the third party can find Revo as well. Revo putting the damage onto VRZ. Carleo trying to find where Game On is to point him out to the rest of his team.
Well, let's see whether or not that is going to maybe work out for them. In the meantime, Game On can actually just sit back, relax, get a bit of popcorn and see how the fight is going to happen around them. But yeah, that's a very interesting decision being made there by both VRZ and Alpha 7. It does seem like VRZ has completely disengaged from that play, as they've now looked to recall themselves back into a different position. Resilience, though, hoping to see that play for placement points, as they have 3 eliminations up, so it is a really good start. But now they got to lock it in. Almost there, just up ahead. Wolf trying to set up for that recall, but it is going to be Resilience now coming through with the challenge. The nades are out. It is, of course, another team rolling up as well. So much pressure building here as iNCO comes to knock on the door, but it doesn't seem like they want to get too involved, as that rotation is going to continue towards that southwestern side of southeastern edge, rather. But look at this. Team Salame also just trying to dip this way and that, as the pressure is on right here in Yulin. Can they find the plane? Can they maybe get the jump in onto what's Team Liquid?
Yes, Team Liquid, Ayala has those sight lines. Well, not the sight lines, but he knows that they are coming up into this Dragon Tooth area, as we named it the other day. So now it does look like they are going to try to get the upper hand onto Team Liquid. But here is Action Esports, and Action Esports over on this recall as well. Revo finding another one from Game On. They crossed over. You knew that Carleo was already watching, setting up for their next fight when they were already in a fight.
Well, now the pressure is going to be on to see if they can maybe buy back a little bit of that time. They also still have quite a bit of a way to go to get back into the zone. There's going to be Zoo right here alongside them. Revo moving up. Can hear the footsteps, can see the indicators, but will they get the shot in? Zoo just on the edge, and down they go. Revo makes it look effortless as Game On gets picked up and gets said good night to, as their run here in game number 2 is done and dusted. The Wolves also going to be looking to push further afield here as they are already well within the zone, but now looking for that next position to call home. A little bit of that recall coming in. Are they rotating up with a full team, or are they opting for a bit of a spread? You can see also just over on towards this eastern side, it is going to be that large EMP zone now kicking in. Resilience trying to get a good lay up on the roofs. It is going to be Wolf here just ahead of them, and iNCO not too far away either. So whatever Resilience is going to look to do, they're going to have to bring in a lot of caution.
Yes, and I see that outside of game on, all these teams are back up almost to full health. As I say that, we get another one taken down, but most of these teams are full 4-man squads still coming up, and we are headed into the second zone. So now these teams, we know that this blue zone on Rondo does not play. So these teams have to stay out of their edge sweep plays that they seem to really like in this series. So the meta is just changing so much this week over here in Rondo.
Yeah, but it's good to see the teams, as you said, right, trying to kind of learn what the approach is to take here, trying to figure out what method works best for them. But that's going to be TGAMES also trying to stay just ahead of the Wolves. As you can see, the Wolves moving in behind them. Philippen has been found. So Action needs to be a little bit cautious there. They do at least have a player set up on the recall as the confirmation has been secured. Resilience also going to try and buy a little bit more time as much as they can. But Saz is down as they do pick him up, put him back in the car, and getting ready for a push. But look at the rotations now coming through here. Quite a bit of tension still held up in towards that northeastern side. Alpha 7 looking very comfortable over on towards the west. And straight out of Nepal now going to look to push on forward. But I like the fact here, Green, that we've got so many teams up in center zone.
Yes, but I was looking at all the teams that are out in the blue. They really have to come up and in. And we have Savage coming right up onto Zero Mercy. So I feel there's going to be a fight out there. I hope they don't take it out in the blue zone like we've seen a few times now. Straight out Nepal was already positioned, but they are also moving closer to center zone. So center zone is not the place to be at this moment. Zero Mercy. Do we have AFK? Oh, I thought he was AFK, DK.
No, Nightmare was just super focused on that loot. And a very admirable thing to do right then and there. I mean, you can never say no to loot. There's never enough. Now, Potato trying to find a little bit of an angle to play through here. We do see quite a bit of movement up ahead of them. The Wolves also now having to deal with a few smoky vehicles. They need to get over to the mechanic. Meanwhile, let's see whether or not anything is going to come through here from TGAMES. We did see them just over on towards, I believe, the eastern side. So there is a bit of an angle here to be played, but up comes TGAMES instead taking a wide spread. Ooh, beautiful connection there by Doran. Very cheeky, quick reactions there. But Alpha 7 having iNCO just on their doorstep could make things a little bit more challenging over here.
Yes, and we know that we got action coming up on the other side as well. So they are all trying to push up into the same area, and look at Potato spraying Savage right on out of that. So Zero Mercy coming up into Savage and taking a Savage member out. Savage is already back up to 4 players, DK. So they are on those recalls right now.
Yeah, keeping their fingers on the trigger. Now, speaking about triggers, that is exactly what iNCO was pulling over there. Alpha 7 now going to try and see, do they have any recalls remaining, as Obscure is going to be the final hopeful for the team. Now, all the way out in the blue. In the meantime, it is going to be Action here, and iNCO getting ready for a little bit of something. Faction, again, just holding on to that eastern side. And somehow, some way, Action and Faction always have some kind of an interaction in almost every single match. I don't know how they do it, but I love it. It is amazing. I know it's a bit cringe, but you know what? If you go look up my name in the dictionary, it means cringe. So it is fantastic. Now, iNCO, though, going to be looking, can they hold on? Because VRZ are trying relentlessly to find a strategy to get into the zone. You can see them just waiting on the outside, but so far, they do find themselves a little bit of that Legion Zen action.
And we know that Legion Zen really needs these points. I'm really hoping that Legion Zen can get set up. We've seen them do it time and time again, but we need to see them do it in these final days, DK.
Well, it's now going to be go time, right? It is now or never, or anywhere between here and the end of the match. They can look to lock it down. Nicole, though, has been locked out as the confirmation is in. It does seem like Zen are having a little bit of a bumpy start so far here today, but there's still going to be an opportunity for them to come back even stronger as the match is far from over. It's all going to be down to how they look to play through these positions. But now, speaking of which, it is Team Liquid trying to apply as much pressure as they can. Okay, we're going to have a little bit of something potentially here as INF starts to find their way over onto the southeastern edge of zone. Nobody here to welcome them in. It is just going to be them. But can they find a decent spot to move into and get a bit of an advantage? Get some info as to where the rest of the teams are, because 9Z, Reyes, is right there alongside them.
And you know that Reyes is telling the rest of his team, here they come, get ready. And now almost there, trying to get in right with VRZ as well. All these teams pushing right up into this small zone already. And we still have 17 teams. All the teams except for Game On are still in this. And most of them are still all full 4-man teams coming in strong into stage 4.
Well, stage 4 or more. Let's see who will get it done, as Fernandes is going to be just on the edge here. Oh, Wolf with a beautiful spray over onto the edge. But again, the damage just getting backed on in, and that is almost there. Getting taken right out of it. iNCO looking pretty strong still here on the edge of that zone. The full team at their disposal. Are they going to be able to get a little bit of a cheeky spray going here, as Alpha 7 also needs to make something happen. VRZ just ahead of them. They're going for the res. This could be that push opportunity for Alpha. But can they get it in time as VRC now starts to rotate out and things are looking a little bit more challenging, especially with Faction just up ahead as well.
Yes, we know that Alpha 7 loves to do these edge zone plays, but they are really paying attention to this blue zone and pushing. Oh, T-Games over here in a fight with Zero Mercy. Zero Mercy trying to hold them off, and VRZ going out to Zero Mercy and VRZ. Both of them went out.
Well, let's see who's going to be able to get this going here. Zero Mercy, as you've said, right? Going out 2 points up. Now, the rest of the lobby is still having a long, long way to go. We got 14 teams in this fight. Influence Rage going to be trying to get a little bit of a more secured angle, but they've got 2 teams just chain linked to them coming through from that southwestern front. It's going to be Guizor now getting hit here as iNCO starts rolling up with the pressure. Gonna love to see this now. Can Obscure again survive, as they will be the last remaining hopeful for the team here once more. But I like this tension. I like how all of this is playing out. INF gonna be looking to quickly relocate further up the hillside. Meanwhile, it is gonna be Resilience. Oh, getting way further in these late stages. But I said they need to play for placement points, so they're gonna have to find a way to survive all the way up into the top 8.
These players with their gun skills, that was an insane flick. Just right there, as soon as he saw just an edge, just a pixel, he had him down and was able to bring his team back in. And I'm not sure if they ran out of recalls, because Resilient iNCO going out in 13th place with 11 eliminations. iNCO. So now here comes straight out of Nepal in the fight with 9Z GLOBANT. 9Z GLOBANT down just a couple of players. So 9Z does need to figure out how to get out of this sticky situation with the straight out of Nepal. We saw this straight out of Nepal. Winner chicken dinner doubled yesterday.
It is going to be a pretty tough one, though. I don't quite know. Can they get that double winner chicken dinner? It is going to require quite a bit of work to come through, especially looking at all the teams that they are going to be going up against here. But now, this is going to be the big decider here, right? We do see Resilience and Liquid up towards the north, the Wolves and the last little bit of Alpha 7 on that southern side. We do see another hit coming in as well as the teams slowly start to drop on down. We only have 11 now remaining, but we do have quite a bit of pressure held up on towards the northwestern side of the zone. Straight out of Nepal, though, they're going to be losing Blaze along that rotation as Action and Faction get ready for, guess what? An interaction. Here we go. Beautiful jump coming in from Philippe and out the window. The shots are in. The players are starting to fall, but Action now going to try and keep those health bars up. So far, doing a pretty good job. As you can see, Faction super low on the HP themselves. One player remains. That is all they have to try and contest against. One nade could easily close it up, but there we have it. Faction going out with 4 eliminations in 11th position. Now, Alpha 7 Obscure still going to be playing a serious game of hide and seek. Hope they don't find him on the edge. We also have Legion Zen still alive, but they do seem a little bit hesitant, right? They don't want to full send it just yet.
Yeah, with all these players in there, they can see that there's still 22 players remaining in the stage 5. Oh, what a shot. Resilience going out in 5th place to Team Salame. Salame's going to be able to pick up their players and continue on as a duo, I believe. So now Obscure, just not exactly sure he wants to push up and over because he's got the Wolves right in front of him. And he's got Zen coming up from that southern side.
Well, that's what we want to see, right? Can Zen get themselves in here? They do say goodbye to Cam C. That puts them on a little bit of a more challenging setup here. Only 2 players up. They were at least able to secure themselves that 1 elimination. But as you can see, the Wolves and Alpha 7 still holding in the area. It's not going to be an easy entry further in towards the zone, as the stage 6 is going to hit in just over a minute. Also, I like the fact that Action is moving closer. They've also not yet fully committed to that zone positioning, but they're looking for a pathway in. Wolves now trying to do everything they can to try and find that final hopeful here for Alpha 7. They know that there's some kind of intruder here somewhere. They don't know exactly where, but they've got a pretty good idea. The only problem is they're going to have to act super fast, because once Action spots the opportunity, they are also going to look to apply quite a bit of pressure here as well.
Yes, and Alpha 7, he started to throw those smokes, and I wondered about why he was throwing the smokes so early. And I'm not sure if he thought he got spotted out by Wolves, but Wolves definitely know that he's over there now with the smokes. So he does have to get into zone, but I'm not sure the early smokes. I did miss why he threw them so early. But now at DK, we have one team that is a full 4-man team, and that is Action. The rest of these teams, duos, solos, trios, not many trios left, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be a pretty tough play to get all the way through onto that winner chicken dinner. I mean, there are so many teams here looking to contest for that. So Alpha 7 straight on a pole. I mean, the odds already kind of stacked against them. So it is going to be a pretty tough play to make it in, as, solos can only go so far. But Action, Team Liquid, Wolves, I would say that they have a pretty decent opportunity here to find the necessary success. Can Team Salame maybe piece it back together? Because as we know, they came into this match with only 35 points to their name, all the way out in that 13th position. Still quite a bit of a hill to climb to get back into contention with regards to those points. But spotting out Team Liquid up on the hill could maybe be a way for them to get that momentum going.
Yes, if you know where they are, it makes it easier to figure out where you want to be and where you don't want to be, DK. You don't want to be downhill from that scout that is going up to the top of that mountain. Look at Team Liquid. He is almost all the way up there, right on top of Ooh, and he is gonna spot out Team Salami. The rest of his team is gonna know. And we also have Influence Rage right over on that top of the hill as well, right below where the scout at the top of the mountain is. So this is a crazy place to be over in this northern edge of zone.
Yeah, well, let's see who's going to be able to survive the insanity and the chaos that is about to ensue here. As you can see, Team Liquid trying everything they can to find a bit of an angle, but it is proving to be quite a bit of a challenge as there are so many teams situated up here. Action still holding on with a strong number count, but can they make it count, though? As it is going to be straight out NEPAL getting picked up next. Team Salame feeling the heat as it rains down from top. The hill Alpha 7, though, is going to beat them back into the lobby. Team Salame picking up a few placement points here as well. Now, Influence Rage trying to lock it down. It is going to be that two-piece, but the pressure is going to come in here as Action Esports is going to look to double down. They can almost taste the chicken, but can they catch it? Because as far as I remember, catching chickens is quite difficult. But now, look at this. It is going to be Law trying to rotate up because Chiowski coming up from the hillside. Unfortunately, not being able to convert much of that spray into an elimination. But there we go. The damage now starting to fly on through. INF now in a world of trouble.
Yes, and now we do have Action trying to push up onto the other side of Influence Rage and Team Liquid. They are both still up here at the top of the hill. Action trying to push up on the other side, coming up using the Doritos from the sky, that emergency cover sticks to throw them on down and get some hard cover right in this edge of zone. Did they use them too early? That's the big question.
Yeah, well, only one way to find out how that is going to pan out for them, but this is going to be that go play now, as they will need to find a way to bounce back. Might just keep the momentum, keep the angles, but it is looking quite challenging, especially with such a big mountain in the way. The zone is going to pull all the way over into the center. So however way they look to get themselves in there, it is going to be quite a bit of a challenge. Unfortunate to see Action losing so many players here. I mean, they looked pretty decent coming into just the previous phase. But so far, it just proves just how challenging these positions can be. So if you're not fully aware of everything cooking around you, there could be a whole lot of surprises coming your way. Now, it is going to be Baton looking to play from behind that hard cover. You got to watch out for Law just to head off there. But Chef now looking to cook as he steps up and puts Bob down. Out they go. Action leaving with 8 eliminations to their name. But look at this. Team Liquid coming through with 12 eliminations total. Wolves only managing to secure themselves 4 so far, but maybe an opportunity available here as Chief goes down. Team Liquid now having their numbers starting to drop down slowly but steadily. Liquid down to 1. It is going to be Ayala trying to secure something up in this phase.
Yes, and we've got the Wolves, the only duo. All the rest of these teams, we have 4 teams in here and only 1 duo. Everybody else is a solo. So now here comes all the nades and the mollies trying to hold them back off this ridge line. We do have SNC7 with that hard cover, the blown up car, but the Wolves separating out. It does look like we got Doran pushing up and around, Baton ready to spot out anyone that may have been found by Doran on the scouting position, but they are all right there in front of them. And Doran does go up onto this high ground to get the positions down. Ayala spotting him out, trying to get those shots now, and Doran trying to cover for him.
Well, this is what it all comes down to, right? Who can get onto these plays the fastest? The numbers still quite in favor of the Wolves over here. But you can see Doran and Baton still quite mobile, not really locking anything down just yet. They are going to be looking for the angle. As you can see, Ayala on high. NC7 just ahead of them. Oh, but there's still a bit of a threat here that I don't think the Wolves have spotted just yet. Right, we know that there's a player holding right alongside them. And of course, is none other than Law, just patiently awaiting that jump. But Ayala could maybe be gathering quite a bit of decent info here. Baton needs to be careful because if they overextend that peak, it is going to be quite a bit of a spray that they'll be met with here. But let's see, can this one now be pulled out of the bag? The Wolves are going to try quite a few different strategies to secure the angle here. Ayala now getting distracted, as it is going to be Doran moving a little bit closer. It buys a bit of an opportunity then over for the side there of Baton. But now comes the send. Ayala gets found and Baton locks it in. Team Liquid go out with 12 eliminations up. The Wolves starting to claw their way a little bit further and further into that late game. It's still 2 players standing between them and that potential victory. No one has been able to find Law so far. NC7 still holding up quite cheekily behind this vehicle. But if the Wolves aren't careful, this could maybe spell quite a bit of a disaster for them.
The way they're playing it is like Queen or Rook. They move up, they move over, they move out, they get these teams. Woohoo! Whoa, there goes Law out. So now it is just a 1v2. And it does. Here he comes. He pops up out of that hardcover because the blue zone comes right up it. TGAMES winner chicken dinner. SN7 holding that. Wow, what a play from SN7. TGAMES.
Yeah, GG going out to them. A very exciting performance that we saw coming in here. But, you know, sometimes it just goes in the complete opposite direction. Like I said, the Wolves, they needed to be super aware of everything around them. And, of course, we did see those solos posing quite a bit of a threat. And unfortunately, not managing to keep it all together. But you know what? It is what it is. That was only the first Rondo of the day. We have another Rondo coming in a hot minute. So it is going to be exciting to see if the teams can look to kind of reclaim a little bit of that performance. But so far, the first Rondo looking pretty strong. And now we got to see, were they able to secure the necessary points to ensure a little bit of an advance up the overall rankings?
And here you go, DK. Let's look at this. We have TGAMES coming in with the winner chicken dinner. 7 eliminations, but they also have 7 grenades. And our SNC7, he had 500 damage to bring in that chicken dinner.
Yeah, that's sometimes all you need, right? You just got to survive up into that late stage and make sure that you are in a golden position. 500 damage is going to look quite comfortable alongside those 3 elims, as you've said. But of course, if we look over onto Padil, 9k, and Pedrin, you can see everybody tried to contribute a little bit, but, you know, it was a pretty tough match. So some varying levels of results coming through for them. We also are going to be taking a look at the match standings. You can see TGAMES walking away with a glorious 17 points. Team Liquid walking away with 16. And then we see double digits all the way down to iNCO, who was able to walk away with 11 points alongside Action Esports. Both teams taking a slightly different approach to finish on that 11 number count.
Yeah, and if you look down in the placement points, iNCO had 0 placement points, but all the way down into 13th, we have a placement point there. Team SALAME just needs to get some eliminations to move up that board. This is Rondo. This is where you shuffle that leaderboard.
Yeah, so the big question is going to be, of course, have they been able to do enough shuffling? Because, you know, as we know, a few points are at stake here, but only time will tell. And so will the numbers, right? So a little bit of math is going to be required here. Almost there, unfortunately, the only team this time around not being able to pick anything up. But as we've said, right, it is not all over just yet. We still have a bit of a way to go. It is going to be Miramar coming in next as the teams will prep themselves for a little bit of a showdown to find over in the desert. But yeah, things looking pretty good for 9Z, GLOBANT, and TGAMES. So we're not seeing necessarily the same teams from yesterday that were dominating, being able to replicate those efforts coming into today's matches.
Now, my question is to you. Are we going to see any double winner chicken dinners this time? Or are we going to start seeing straight on NEPAL and iNCO, who both had double winner chicken dinners yesterday? What's your prediction?
I mean, I don't know if we are going to be seeing that same kind of play because I mean, looking at what straight out of Nepal has been doing so far today, they've been trying to kind of bounce back from that, but not getting all the way there, right? Alpha 7 tried, we saw a few other teams tried, but not quite making it all the way in. So I like the fact that the lobby is looking to bring in quite a bit of heat and contesting those top performing teams for those pole positions.
Yes, but let's go to a break, DK, and we will find out what they do on Miramar.
into the south.
Welcome back, everyone. We are here with PUBG Mobile America's Challengers, headed into match number 3. But here are the rankings.
Yes, sir. Here they are indeed. iNCO Gaming now up to 126 points, looking to climb up as far as they can. The team's doing a lot of work, but not a lot of changes coming through within that top 6. We do see all the movement from 7th to 11th. So 2 teams moving up and the other 3 moving down. Liquid and TGAMES with a beautiful upward move. But so far, we've not yet seen the teams are on that right-hand side, right, from 12th place further down, being able to secure a strong and confident performance coming into today's matches so far. And great, I want to see them climb up. I want to see them come in and contest because, you know, that would make for a beautiful comeback story.
Yes, and we've seen it. We've seen these teams very capable of doing it. We know they can. So I just hope to see this.
Yeah, we'll find out soon enough who will be able to get it done, as we are going to be getting ready to move over into Miramar. That will be our midway point for the day. So a lot just riding on the performances coming through in, I would say, at least the next 2 games, right? Miramar is going to be a nice bit of a change. But of course, after that, we are heading right back into Rondo to see, can the teams double down? And I think realistically looking at it, if the teams have not been able to bring in any major shifts so far in just the past 2 games, it is, of course, going to become increasingly more challenging being able to do that in the final 3 matches of the day. It's not impossible, but it's really becoming a lot more challenging to do that because the point situation is constantly changing. We can see the teams at the front definitely looking to create even more of a barrier, as we saw even more squads now heading into those hundreds. So the pressure is definitely going to be on, right? Only 3 teams can walk away with a share of the prize pool here. So there's a lot at stake here. If the teams want to make it into the money, well, they're going to have to bring it.
Yes, and they've only got the 3 games today because tomorrow the stakes are so high. So they really have to get some points today on that board if they want to get towards that smash point or the golden rule.
Yeah, I mean, because smash point is an interesting concept, right? But in order for a team to be able to capitalize on the smash point, they need to be close enough to try and catch the team that has already established what the smash point is, right? So there's so much pressure for these teams to see, can they keep up? Can they catch up? But of course, where are they going to drop now? Because we are in match number 3. Miramar coming through. We are starting over on that eastern side, heading right down into Minas del Sur. Of course, prison right there as well. So it's not very often that we see the flight path actually heading down on towards that southern island.
What a flight path for these teams on today's final Miramar match, too. A lot of these teams like those northern areas, and it's not easy for most of these teams to get up to that northern area. We have car spawns, yes, but they're far and few between right down below where this flight path is.
Well, let's see who's going to be able to get their hands on those vehicles. And of course, more importantly, where are they going to have to rotate to? As a lot of teams are going to start making their way on down. Everybody now going to be trying to find a little bit of that early loot. We already see a little bit of pressure starting over in towards Impala. We can see Puerto Pareso also going to be receiving quite a bit of love there, as we got INF and Savage all looking to move on in. The Wolves, though, are going to be heading a little bit further up north. But will they be able to go the distance? Can they get to where they want to go? Because there's a lot of teams looking to contest. And, of course, the zone doing a phenomenal job here, centering up onto San Martin. And this is going to be absolute chaos now for the teams to not only get loot, but get their hands on those vehicles and get their butts rotated back into safety.
Yes, and all these teams seem to have gone to the southern side. We have seen a lot of these southern zones, but now the zone is to the north, and all our teams basically are down at that southern ridge. TGAMES coming No, Team Games down to just a duo now. After that that insane win, just the last Rondo match, straight on the ball, trying to come up and around and capitalize on that. Straight on the ball, losing a player, straight on the ball. Oliver trying to come up and around and right behind. He knows that there's a couple of knock players over here. T-Game's trying to get those knock players back up, and Oliver pushing right up and in. Oliver is a solo player. 4 straight on the ball. With this nade up and over. Can he get some of those knocks? No, now he's going to have to rotate on out. He knows he took a little too long to get on down there to get some of those eliminations. Whew.
Yeah, definitely. Who indeed? We'll find out who it will be, as Oliver is going to try and sneak their way around the edge, just trying to stay out of line of sight here. But T-Games, we know they've already tasted a little bit of the action. They are going to look to find a little bit more. Can they look to replicate the efforts we saw in the previous game? So far, NC7 looking pretty strong, bringing in that consistency, again sitting with 3 eliminations, but now it's going to be Influence Rage looking to leverage the high ground down onto Savage. It is going to be a challenge for either team here to get a good line of sight on the opposing side here. But as you can see, Pixel and Not Goat are going to be trying to just ride out the storm. Influence backing in so much heat right then and there. But of course, up in San Martin is going to be even more now.
Yeah, and I only see a duo from Alpha 7. I don't know if Alpha 7 got into a fight along that western edge, but we also see Game On in a fight right now down in Villa Del Mar. We've got fights over in Leones because we have 3-4 teams right over in Leones, and they all have to come up and in San Martin. We do have the fights as they are rotating up and in as well. Resilience coming up right on to Team Liquid.
Well, let's see whether or not Game On can get a little bit of a jump here. As action is just ahead of them. Gigante has been downed. Could be an easy confirmation here for Zoo, but Zoo is going to be patiently awaiting this push coming in from Hyde. Oh, Hyde knows that there's somebody there, but can they get the job done? The answer is no, as Zoo takes them right on out of it. It is Savage also getting confirmed up, as we do see Pixel Goat now falling to law. Up comes the play here from Game On. It's still a bit of an opportunity over on towards action. It is Influence Rage now just enjoying a few of the spoils of victory. So you can see Little Boy coming through with that crown yet again. Team Liquid also getting picked on up. It is Resilience keeping up with that consistency. But let's see, will we be able to jump back into the fight? Or are we going to stick around here over on the beach a little bit to enjoy the sunlight?
Yeah, I think they want to get looted up after that fight so that they can head north, but we still have Oliver. Oliver is still not getting found by T-Games, and it does look like T-Games has started to loot. They are most likely still hunting Oliver, but you can see on your screen, he is not moving. He is not even breathing.
Well, is that going to be enough for them, Doris? No. Legion Zen looking to make a little bit of something happen over here. Cam C has already been found, but the res could be secured momentarily. Now it is going to be the spray heading up over onto Team Salame. But Team Salame in an interesting situation here because Zero Mercy are going to be moving in behind them. So there could be a bit of a sandwich opportunity here. Let's see now. Will Legion Zen be able to capitalize on this? Are they going to look to maybe rotate out of it? Maybe go for a slightly more eastern rotation to go all the way around that Los Leones angle, as Nicole is right here in the hot oven. The nades now starting to come on through. Nicole quickly having to just fall back into safety, as Kratos Love is going to look to double down on it here.
Oh, Nicole on fire, and not exactly the way we want her. We want Legion Zen to get some of these placement points. I believe Legion Zen has decided to come into Leones to get some of these points. They need points to move up this leaderboard. We know that they can do it. We've seen them get winner, winner, chicken dinner when the odds were stacked against them.
Well, can they do it yet again? That is going to be the big question. So far, Legion Zen are going to be hopping into the vehicle. They have the full team back on their feet, but now going to be coming through with what I would say a little bit of a late rotation, right? Would have liked to see that rotation happen much, much earlier, as there seems to be a little bit of indecision over in that rotation. But the Wolves, though, they are going to focus in onto Alpha 7. Ooh. Somebody's running out in the open. That is Guizorna coming through with a spray on towards Doran, but Baton is going to be stopping them right in their tracks, as you shall not put those shots into my teammate. You will pay the price. And the Wolves managing to hold on at least for the time being, but the rest of Alpha 7 are coming through with a push. All now just descending upon that mountain, looking to see, can they get a little bit of that repayment as Carrillo, Revo, and the rest now all look to roll up.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. The Wolves know that there's another team down. It is Faction Brazil. Faction Brazil were taking those shots over at the Wolves as they were trying to push up the hill into Alpha 7. And it does look like the Wolves have decided to pull away because of the third party coming in from Faction Brazil down in San Martin.
Well, here we go, getting ready for those plays as Higors now starts to push further and further upwards. San Martin could be quite a bit of a interesting position here to play through, but it seems like Faction are not too committed to it. Instead, they are going to be rolling a little bit further towards the northern side. We have VRZ still just locked in on the plateau here, but up comes Zero Mercy, tanking a little bit of that blue. They have a very long way to rotate. Now it is getting a little bit more challenging as they are so close to the edge here, but they are not quite convinced of the safety as they move up, looking to go for the hills, trying to play a little bit of a surprise angle strategy. But as we can see, of course, on screen, there is nobody in the vicinity, so they can actually just push up and make sure that they get a good position to call home right after this next phase. But the pressure is going to be on for the rest of the teams, though, as we still have 16 remaining, and a few are feeling the pressure.
Yes, we can see that Influence Rage coming out of Puerto Patricio. They are finally moving to that north, and I feel like they may be going all the way up to that El Azahar area, which I don't remember seeing anybody up there, so they could come in and take over. Oh, we moved all the way over, DK. We are zeroing in on San Martin, so we do have all these teams coming right up and in zeros. Legion Zen coming up right behind 9Z with Team Salami, hot on their tail, but they are out in the blue. DK, we hope we do not see those blue zone fights that we've seen a couple of times during the Continental stages.
Yeah, well, hopefully these teams know better by now, so we'll see where they're going to look to get themselves situated. I mean, as you said, right, blue zone fights, not the way to go, and I'm not quite sure if Legion Zen are fully committed and fully convinced of that fact, right? Because 9Z is going to look to make it quite difficult for that rotation to come through, as they know there are still a few teams behind them that needs to try and play for that zone positioning. There we go with Reyes finding the spray up onto Camp C. That means that there's just a few more left now over in Legion Zen. But again, Legion Zen, those health bars pretty down low. Not quite sure where they're looking to go with the rotation, because they've been kind of just stuck outside of zone.
Yes, and they do have Team Salami coming up right behind them as well. 9Z capitalizing on these late rotations as they themselves are also rotating late into the zone. It is only stage 3, but we only have a few minutes until this zone starts to hurt. So these teams, all 3 of these teams, need to prioritize something. Either take this fight or get to zone. Wahida, oh, one header going out with the blue zone. Zen, Legion Zen going out. Team Salami, it looks like they moved back away from the fight between Legion Zen and 9Z, but they're still going to be pushing right up and in. Almost there, gatekeeping, Zero Mercy, and straight out of Nepal, Oliver, who has survived to this point, is headed straight into 2 4-man teams right on top of him. I could see him stopped on top of one of those ridge lines, so he's got to be looking around thinking, eeny, meeny, miny, mo.
Well, which mini and which mo's are they going to be able to find here, as it is going to be a pretty high push now coming through, especially over on towards that western edge of the zone. So far here for Zero Mercy, there might be a bit of an opportunity. We don't see too much pressure, but what on earth? All right, I was about to say, who is that far out of the zone? 9Z now looking to find a little bit of something here, but it is going to be game on. Looking to stop them from rolling on in.
And right up and behind him. So now 9C stopping to get into that late fight with Legion Zen. They did get some of those points, but is it going to pay off for them? Now that they have to push right up and into game on, coming up and over that ridgeline. Cole go down to about 5 HP as he gets knocked and almost eliminated. So there are not going to be many winners to this fight as Game On goes into zone right up and into VRZ with the Wolves coming right up behind him.
Well, this is what we love to see, pressure getting applied from all sides. But now, can Game On make it? The answer is no. Down they go. They tried to get the most secured, but unfortunately, they only secured themselves a spot in the lobby. Now, VRZ up on the San Martin Hills, going to be looking to rotate through the plateau. They could still maybe have a bit of an opportunity going up against the side there of the Wolves. But the Wolves already pumped and full of action here, as we did see that engagement coming through just a few mere moments ago. But anything can change. This is Battle Royale. Up comes VRZ. Beautiful hit onto Higors and Doran. Now it is all the way down to Baton. And, of course, Coops to see. Can they cope with the pressure being applied here? But I love the step up coming through from VRZ. They are just bringing so much aggression to the battleground.
Yes, and now we got Coops and Baton, the 2 big fraggers in the Wolves, right on top of VRZ. Canthera, just getting out of that nade. He knew there was a nade in his future, and he said, nah, I'm not looking for shrapnel. And Coops said, come on back, boy.
Well, there we have it. The shots are in, but can the Wolves make it all the way through? I mean, they're still just holding on here as VRZ is absolutely relentless with the approach. Fernandes on the front line, not really having any kind of backup here. You will need that if you are going to look to play up on the ridge line. In the meantime, you can see Team Salame also now losing yet another player. Things are looking pretty grim over on that side, but TGAMES going to be keeping it nice and quiet over on towards the far southeastern side. They do have almost there right alongside them, but Fernandes again coming through with the utility, trying to see can they reach up into Coops and Baton. The shots just on the edges. Both teams now still vying for a bit of an opportunity. Team Salame right there alongside them could maybe play a bit of an upset, but fortunately there is quite a bit of a hill in between the Wolves and that position we see there for Kadu. But now, again, so much pressure starting to build. That zone is slowly ticking away. Everybody on the southern side of the zone, at least the southwestern side, is well situated, but only one team will be allowed to move forward. Wolves trying everything that they can think of here to just keep on popping out the utilities, looking for an off-angle spray to find an opportunity to get in. Now comes Scoops, trying to ride the rage, spots out one of the players here. VRZ still trying to double down, 1 down, going maybe for 2, as Fernandes is on the front line. Dreamsy a little bit further away, not quite here to provide the necessary backup, but the pressure is going to come on through as the Wolves continue to push. They find the second. One more to go. It is going to be Dreamzy. Now coming in a little bit too late to the party here. But will it be enough, though? Can Dreamzy secure the continuation of his team? We do see Baton getting that beautiful award of being the aggressor in this match so far. But Dreamzy not having a secure line of sight. We do have Fernand still in the match to relay some of the information across the way. Oh, Coop's going to get a nade. It's raining down from up above. Would he see it? Would he get out of the way quickly enough? It is such a difficult spot right here on the edge of zone.
Yes, and zone is getting ready to close, and there goes another team out. Did they just get that? TGAMES did push up and in. I think they got one of them from. I did not see who they just did. I just saw the flashing light. Oh, so now we do have fights coming up and in as our zone is closing. It is stage 5. The blue zone is now going to be the top fragger to any of these teams that find themselves out there, because at this point in the match, you need to be in this play zone and you need to prioritize the play zone over these battles outside of zone.
Well, let's see who can get their priorities straight here, as the zone is going to force the hand of these squads yet again. Up comes Wolves looking to pick it up. Oh, it is going to be Coops down, but the shot is in. VRZ has been dealt with. So the Wolves managing to hold on, at least for the time being. That is going to be 9 eliminations now coming through for the Wolves. We do see quite a bit of opposition still ahead of them. So that rotation is going to be of the utmost importance. Action, though, not out of the woods themselves. You can see 9Z moving up, but they are going to be focusing, well, guess on who? On Faction. I said it is amazing how these two teams keep on finding each other match after match after match, all the way from that continental stage. But here we go again. It is going to be Team SALAME now looking to defend, as they will have to try and hold on. 9Z is going to be knocking on the door. They come in with demands. It is going to be Kratos getting picked up. Kadu now going to be looking to see, can they maybe find a little bit of something? But instead, it is the vehicle to run him over. Absolute insanity. With that, we are down to 11 remaining teams. It is going to be almost there now, trying to capitalize on a bit of an opportunity. They do see TGAMES ahead of them, and TGAMES now getting pressured by the side of INF, Influence, Rage, Alpha 7, just over on towards that western side. But who's going to be the team to walk away with all the eliminations? Well, we don't quite know just yet.
We're right on top of everything. We've got so many of these teams still in here, and I like that we've got almost there in here with a full 4-man team. They are positioning right on top of TGAMES. TGAMES down below, trying to stay out of the spray from INF, and almost there, but Influence, Rage finishing that off. And now we do have the rest of almost there, pulling up into Influence, Rage, Federal coming right up and over that ridge line.
Let's see if Federal can get anything going. In the meantime, we are going to be looking over on towards the western side, as it is going to be Faction still looking to not become the main attraction here, as the pressure is quite high. Wolves, I like how they've been able to kind of bounce back from that little bit of an engagement we saw just a while ago. But now you can see a lot of caution being brought in here. In the meantime, it is going to be Federal to find the head over onto Wolf. 1 down, a few more to go. As almost there is now holding on still with 3 players. Wolf not getting confirmed just yet. INF just trying to alleviate a little bit of that pressure. Zoom finding Federal in the exchange. But now, where will this next zone take us? It is going to be centering up right onto Oliver and iNCO. 2 teams now going to be feeling quite happy with their setup here. Alpha 7, Zero Mercy also looking pretty decent, but almost there. INF, Resilience, the players from Action and Faction all still having to rotate up. So nobody on these outlying positions having any kind of security just yet. Wolf coming through with a little bit of a full circle play, as they do find the nade coming into Federal. but still almost there, not out of the woods. We do say goodbye to Faction as they get sprayed on down. iNCO locks it in. Now it is going to be Resilience, rather, feeling quite a bit of that pressure coming in over on towards that far western side of the zone. Meanwhile, here in the east, almost there. Still going to be trying everything they can think of to get the position, but of course, rotating out into the open, definitely not the way to go.
Right into Revo. Revo said, not this way, you don't. And now Obscure finishing off almost there. Trying to get into the zone and gate kept by Alpha 7. iNCO already set up in the compound. Once again, set up into the zone. Action going out in 8th place with 3 eliminations. The Wolves, the duo, are still up to 10 eliminations. This is still just about anybody's game that are in the play zone.
Well, let's see who is going to be able to bag that chicken. It's Influence Rage and Alpha 7 now just having a bit of a staring contest here. As you can see, Alpha 7 only sitting with 3 eliminations up, but not a really good position to make much of here. As we got Zero Remorse coming through over on towards the western front. We got straight out of Nepal, just holding on to the north. Wolves on that far western edge. So there's still quite a bit of elevation and angles to be played through as our final 7 teams look to do whatever they can. But INF, iNCO looking pretty strong. Each squad coming through with still a full roster in the game. So will it be enough for that to be a game changer? We don't quite know. But Zero Mercy going to try and keep a very consistent eye towards the Wolves and the rest of the zone. They want to know how they're going to look to rotate out if the zone is going to force them to go further up, either to the north or to that eastern approach.
I love that Wolves are still up on this hill. They are getting so much information where these teams are fighting. They can see the smokes. They can see the nades going off. They can see the cars rotating down below them. And then there's Oliver stuck in the center of zone, hoping that no one spots him out. iNCO still in that compound, but iNCO does have a team coming up behind him. Resilience trying to push in from that northern side.
Well, here we go. Wolves looking for something, a bit of an opportunity. They can choose to go north, they can choose to go south. But of course, the zone is going to decide their hand. So it does seem like north will be the play. So the Wolves now turning their focus up onto that northern side, but there could still be quite a few opportunities coming through from the southern side. Hey, look at that, Resilience finishing with placement points. Gotta love it. Eventually they found it, so well done to Resilience. Unfortunate to see them go out in 7th, but you know what? It is still a good overall play from their side there. Now Oliver has been stuck in that shack for quite a long time. It is going to be Influence Rage looking to clean up the edges here as they start to move on through. They know Alpha 7 just on that southern side. I don't quite know if they know of Zero Remorse's position, but they can see all the way across up to the players there from the Wolves. So for the Wolves here, Green, doing a really good job. 11 eliminations coming through. Still quite a few up for grabs. But now it is going to be INF having to step up and do what they can, as we do see Coops now getting knocked on down baton, super low on that health bar. So a very challenging rotation here for the Wolves into the zone.
And it was none other than iNCO and Influence Rage on this north side, spotting him out on that ridge line, trying to come on down and in. And the Wolves going out with 11 eliminations in 6th. And straight out in Nepal, still right there in center zone. Oliver getting blessed by that loot crate, but saying, no, I'm not going anywhere near it, you guys. That is just a party invitation to go the other way. Revo going down to Zero Mercy. Zero Mercy Salmon coming up and over that ridgeline and able to find Alpha 7 going out to Zero Mercy. So now we do have the statistics up, DK, and they're saying Influence Rage Influence Rage is a full 4-man team along with iNCO, and they are side by side trying to get across the street. Look at this. They all made it to this side. So now here it comes right in the middle. Oh, SALAME going down after all of that play.
Well, let's see. Can they pick it back up as the zone is going to start closing up very soon? And I mean, as you've said, this could be anyone's game, but it does seem like the odds are stacked against Zero Mercy as they are slowly bleeding health. And you don't want to do that at this stage of the match. Chicken Dinner almost in sight, just barely ahead of them. But up comes Influence Rage looking to find something to stand on as they are moving in, trying to send out a few smokes, trying to kind of pave a bit of a way for themselves to rotate through. But they are, of course, then at the same time drawing quite a bit of attention to themselves. You can see Zero Mercy trying to ride that ridge as well. Up comes the play as the zone gets ready. It's going to start to close up. There's a minute left before we hit stage number 9. Now, iNCO, golden opportunity here available to them. You can see the odds starting to lean more and more so in their favor as Influence Rage has been caught out in the open. And this now just makes it target practice for the rest of the lobby. Still somehow miraculously, we do see Oliver from straight out of Nepal managing to hold on, but Federal has been spotted out. That is Potato coming through. Quick response coming through here from Lil Boy. But now SALAME getting hit as well as the damage continues to get stacked. And now it is up to Inspector. And down they go. iNCO still being an absolute menace in this lobby. But look at the spread here from iNCO, right? They've come through with a beautiful read. They've started to descend down the hill, looking to get themselves situated up into a center zone. And in the next 10 seconds, that blue is going to start nipping at everybody's heels. So Oliver will have to find a way to just maintain that consistency. Try to ride it out all the way to the tippity top here. Diego could receive a little bit of a cheeky nade. The utility's now getting sent out. The Molly's trying to bounce in a beautiful hit onto Oliver as Lil Boy closes the door for them. Now it's going to be iNCO and INF to fight for the victory. Only one team will be allowed that winner chicken dinner knock on either side. Confirmation coming through. The odds now starting to even out. As you can see, iNCO trying to claw their way back. They've got 10 eliminations up. Can they bring Bruno back? The answer is no. It's now just 2 players remaining. So a very fair spread across the way. But INF will have to get those health bars mended. Lil Boy, Diego, they're going to have something to fight with as McGrellan and 7-8 are sitting with pretty packed HP bars. They have so much eliminations already helping them just establish quite a bit of a dominating presence here. But as we know, only one team can get that victory. Looking at iNCO, they have to set up in zone. They are right in the center, and they know Influence Rage will have to rotate to them. But there is still an opportunity here for Influence Rage to capitalize, to get the jump. Lil Boy now getting that P90, and that could maybe be their ticket to the chicken here, as both teams are contesting for something. This could be Influence Rage's first winner chicken dinner if they can get it secured right here in the finals. Now McGrellan on the far side, not spotting out Lil Boy just yet, but a quick little push coming through here as Influence are going to be playing the patient game. 7-8 moves up. Diego can hear the footsteps, but the mollies are getting sent across as well. So that is going to mean that Lil Boy needs to practice a lot of caution. Of course, if you can hit me with the nade, that means I can hit you. As 7-8 and McGrellan Green are getting closer and closer to each other. But one nade could maybe spell disaster for either of these teams.
But you notice that none of these teams, none of these players had any throwables until Little Boy found that crate. And then he found 5 nades and 2 mollies. And here they all come. They are all headed over towards 7. And here's the push across the 7. Oh! iNCO Gaming for the winner chicken dinner. What did you think of that, DK? Oh, that was so intense.
iNCO coming through with their 3rd victory, stealing the chicken from Influence Rage, who are looking to get just their first, right? Their first winner chicken dinner. but unfortunately they were denied any of that. So an absolutely phenomenal and insane performance coming through from iNCO Gaming. 3 chickens strong, top of the leaderboard coming into the match, top of the leaderboard going out of the match as well. So absolutely phenomenal stuff's coming through. But of course, we did see quite a few other teams also stepping it up. We did see some hefty damage numbers being brought in, those eliminations stacking up quite high. But the question is going to be, have they been able to do enough to catch up? Because iNCO, they are just leading the charge. And speaking about iNCO, we hop into the team stats breakdown. As you can see, the spread there is, of course, 7-8. Magrellan, Bruno, and Vitali all bringing their contributions to the table. And 7-8 and Magrellan only using 3 grenades. That's it. That's all they needed to help secure themselves the victory here.
Yeah, imagine what this ending would have been if they would have had even 1 smoke. They didn't even, none of these players had any throwables until he found that crate. And no smokes, but 5 nades and 2 mollies, and he thought he was going to be able to push across that street. They did get the knock onto the 1, but then the spray because that 1-1 split.
Well, here we have it, of course, a quick update on those points. As you can see now, the match standings for iNCO sitting with a comfortable 22 points going their way. Influence Rage coming through on 17. Wolves on 13. But Influence Rage and Wolves each just 1 elimination behind iNCO Gaming. So a very strong effort being brought through by these top 3 squads right here. But Zero Mercy coming in with 9 as well. They are, of course, trying to play a serious game of catch-up. They started the match out with only 26 points, now adding 9 to it. Could maybe push them up a little bit, but I'm not seeing that being much of a move because Game On was just ahead of them on those standings. But here we go. It is going to be game number 3 now getting checked off as well, as we've seen all those chickens coming home to roost. And of course, the big question is going to be who will be locking in the final 2 matches. We are going to be heading right back into Rondo, and it is going to be absolute insanity descending upon that battlefield.
And of the 2 days of finals, this is iNCO's 3rd winner chicken dinner.
Yeah, in only 2 days, they've been able to do a lot with that. But of course, it's all going to come down to how the next few matches play out. And so far, things are looking pretty tough, right? The top of the board been pretty stationary. The lower end of the board, pretty stationary. We've only seen movement come through in that middle region. And it's going to be a pretty tough one. I mean, Zero Mercy, they tried really hard coming into this last match. But the question is, has it been enough? That is going to be the big kicker, the big revealer. And of course, Rondo will present the teams with even more opportunities. But speaking of which, we are going to hop into a break. So be sure to stay tuned. We'll see you back on the other side.
Welcome back, everyone, to the PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. We are headed into match 4, day 2 of finals.
Yeah, and with that comes a lot of heat. iNCO up to 148 points. Absolutely insane performance coming through here from them. Gotta love what we are seeing coming from these teams. I mean, just so much happening on the board. We got Influence Rage moving from 6th place up into 4th. We got the Wolves climbing all the way from 8th into 6th place. We do see Resilience also then capitalizing on the plays here, moving up into that 12th position. So a lot happening on the overall standings. But of course, even a lot more is going to be happening as we step over into Rondo. We've seen what happened back in match number 1, right? The first Rondo that we had. Now, the big question is, of course, here, Corrine, how are the teams going to look to respond stepping into the second and final Rondo for day number 2?
Yeah, are we going to see a lot of action, or are we going to see some more strategy? Are these teams going to try to start working on those 1-3 splits? Are they going to start working on their earlier rotations? Because we're seeing them out in that blue late, and they need to come in earlier. They need to set up these compounds so that they can take on these teams as they come pushing up and in.
Yeah, I think we need to see a little bit more proactiveness, right? The team's trying to get a little bit ahead of that zone play because, I mean, sure, the zone play could maybe be something that you could use on a map, I would say, like Miramar. I don't think Erangel is really a map for a lot of blue zone play. It could maybe work to some extent on a map like Sanhok as well, but they're not playing Sanhok, right? They're playing Rondo. So in Rondo, you got to stay ahead of it because that map is large and there's a lot of distance to try and cover. And of course, to add, you know, a little bit of flavor to that, there are those wide open expanses as well. So you can get spotted in a rotation from a long distance away. So I think the sooner you can get yourself situated, the sooner you can get into that next position, the better your odds will be. But of course, I think a big factor in this is also then those recalls. So it's good to see that the teams are starting to prioritize that a lot more, sending one dedicated player out. But the same thing that we are seeing then is, of course, that same player gets contested because the 3 players from another team comes rolling up to that exact position. And so that means for some teams, it's a quick ticket back into the lobby.
And we've also seen a couple of these teams that are finding out what the EMP does the hard way.
Yes, sir, indeed. So the MP is definitely not something that you want to mess with. It is not your friend, even though the name sounds friendly. No, it doesn't. But either which way, it is going to be go time as we now await that flight path to see where the teams are going to be going towards. And for the time being, well, it is safe to say that is indeed Rondo down below us. We can see a little bit of that river coming into play as well. So we are up in the north, almost all the way there, as we are going to be stopping all the way up in Ryan. And now it is going to be the teams looking to get themselves spread out and situated. Ooh, but it is going to be a pretty exciting play maybe up in the Long Garden over there.
Yes, it does look like the NEAX factory test track might have those 2 teams, the Wolves and it was Resilience. Was the Resilience that likes to drop on the Wolves there? So I'm interested to see some of these plays. I see almost there. It looks like they're split up. We've got 3 of them headed to that western edge, and then we've got one farther to the north. So I'm seeing them split up. I'm seeing them starting to do it. But look down in that south corner. All right, so it is the Wolves over here with Influence Rage and Team Salami. We've got 3 teams over here in the Neox factory test track. So it is going to be a lot of sweaty action right off the bat.
Well, not only a bat, but they're going to have to swing as well, as a bat can only take you so far. But let's see whether or not the Wolves can get a home run here. Unfortunately for Krups, it is going to be an unfortunate play as they are now down to a 2-piece here. You can see Higors on the front line Trying to see if they can maybe get a bit of an angle secured. Revo, in the meantime, is going to find themselves a little bit of that savage action. Up comes Carrillo going for that res. Oh, gets the hit in. 1 and 2, and down they go. Now, Kunzai is going to be an interesting spot for them to call home, at least for the time being. Alpha 7 now up in Muhapan. Going to be looking for anything and everything in the surrounding area. Meanwhile, Influence Rage getting right back to business as they are going to look to apply themselves onto the walls. But you got to be careful because Team Salame is also going to be holding up in the test track.
Yeah, and they were taking those shots right across, getting Influence Rages in, getting the attention. And now look at this. Here comes the Wolves back into action. Doran, AFK, get in here, Doran. Oh no.
Well, a pretty tough start for Doran. But Diego and the rest of Influence Rage, though, they don't mind. They are going to look to capitalize. But you got to watch out for Coops up on the roof there. But Don up in the window. Diego very exposed up on this roof. But not being spotted as Baton is going to be tending to some other pressing matters. But let's see if Hegos can maybe get a little bit of security at hand. And Savage, they've also not come to roll on forward. Enjoying rather a bit of their spoils of the loot. Nightmare has found Kratos, and it is now just even more pressure as the teams continue to chain fight. But pretty soon, a lot of these players are going to start to run out of revives. As you can see, Kadu is the last man standing for their team. So not quite sure if Team Salame is going to be able to survive it past this bush. But up comes Zero Mercy, looking for him. Going to try and find that play. Inspector, Salman now moving up. They know that Kadu can only be in so many different places. Utilities, of course, continuing to rain on down. And so far, it does seem like Team Salame, are in it to get taken out.
Oh, it's so heartbreaking to see these teams go out so early in this match on Rondo. This is Rondo. This is where you're supposed to have these big point games, not the first one out in phase 1 with 4 minutes remaining in phase 1. So they've got a long way to wait till that next Erangel match.
Yeah, they definitely will have one, but let's see now. Well, Baton gets spotted. The grenade is let loose. Oh, quick reaction there from Baton, but he falls back into the building. Meanwhile, it's going to be Law looking to go the distance. Now looking to bring the team back as the recalls all get triggered. And timer ticking down. I think that is a very vulnerable play there because you are very exposed. But so far, so good. 9Z GLOBANT here. Getting ready for a little bit of something as well. As you can see, Reyes just patiently awaiting Team Liquid to make any decisive moves. But up comes the play, and that is going to be Reyes getting punched out of here as Team Liquid finds their third elimination.
Getting not even using his loot. And the Wolves go out in 17th with only 2 eliminations, getting pinched over in that test track. Neox Factory, Zero Mercy taking over the factory. So now Resilience also over here with almost there. We did see that almost there. We're separated off that jump. So can they get their teammates back up and in? Resilient. Oh, Molina right above that crate.
Well, now the pressure is going to be on yet again. Almost there. Finding themselves in a little bit of an opportunity here. It is quiet, so there's not going to be too much nipping at their heels just yet. But the rest of the teams over in towards that northeastern side, or northwestern edge rather, going to have to go. Still a very, very long way to get themselves situated. Almost there, has a bit of an opportunity, but we can see quite a few teams in the surrounding area. So for the time being, they're safe. But you got to keep a very close eye on VRZ, as we can see Cantera starting to rotate up, so there could be a little bit of something coming through there. We do see Faction also looking to explore the region a little bit more, get themselves situated up into its center zone. So many teams yet to commit to those rotations. 9Z also having quite a bit of a long way to get themselves all the way back into the safe zone.
I saw Legion Zen right there, just right behind. I believe it was iNCO up in that northwest edge. That's not where Legion Zen wants to come in. Legion Zen does need to rotate a little differently. Hopefully, they are not trying to follow iNCO down and into the zone, because iNCO is hot right now. They have been hot this whole finals the past 2 days.
Well, let's see whether or not Faction can maybe make a little bit of something happen here. So far, Lennox just testing out the weapon, making sure that it works as intended. Action, though, 9Z. Legion Zen, still quite a bit of a way to go here. Center zone is going to get pretty compacted, as we can see several teams now all trying to find a position to move into. We see Alpha 7 also taking a slow little bit of a stroll outside there of Jadina City. But now, are they going to be able to maybe push across the bridge? As you can see, Guizhou just trying out a few different angles. Team Liquid, though, all the way over towards that far western side, and it's going to be an easy rotate for them, as they are already quite well situated. But are they going to try and play for the high ground? Are they just going to full send it forward? They could, of course, find themselves a little bit of that almost there along the way, as almost there has gone for a 2-2 split. So that could be an interesting strategy, but I'm not quite sure whether or not they'll be able to stand up against the likes of Team Liquid.
Yeah, because Team Liquid is right on top of them. Almost there, right on the screen now. The duo in a little safer spot than the other side of their team. But you could see that the other two players are in their vehicles and most likely trying to get out of the way of Team Liquid, as Team Liquid coming in right on top of them.
Well, here we go now with Faction trying to lock down that eastern side of zone. You can see Guizhou now opting for a little bit of a cooldown here, as the pressure is on. Fausto trying to get the spray in, but again, not the easiest one onto this bridge.
No, and this water is deep, and look at all the braces that Alpha 7 can hide behind, trying to stay out of that spray, while the rest of Alpha 7 is coming across that bridge, or maybe coming down and around to come up behind Faction Brazil to save their teammate.
Well, only time will tell what that play will be, but iNCO now coming through with a little bit of a peek here. You can see Savage just ahead of them, but Savage completely unaware of the location of iNCO, so there could be quite a bit of a surprise coming to them very, very soon. Or, you know, if you say it with a fancy voice, a surprise coming near you. So they'll find out very soon whether or not iNCO is going to look to aggress on them, because for the time being, they are just focused on their compound, looking every which way every now and again, but, you know, not looking too hard just yet. Now, Alpha 7 are going to be opting for a little bit of a safer rotation, heading a slight bit further down south, looking to see if they can squeeze over the bridge ahead of them. Maybe this could be their way. Maybe this could be that ticket. Carrillo, Revo, of course, not quite sure where they are currently located, but we'll find out pretty soon as Alpha 7 continues to push. It is going to be Influence Rage coming through on that western side, trying for a bit of an opportunity, a bit of an angle. But there is still a lot of territory for them now to try and claim here. Carrillo, ooh, already setting up on the edge of zone there for Alpha 7. Now look at Law getting hit as they try to just peek over the ridge. But you got to watch out, because there is going to be more teams rolling through from that northern side.
Yes, and I believe that was Legion 7 taking those shots down on the Law. I really want to see Legion 7 step it up. We know they are capable. We know that they can get these points. They just need to get the momentum. We've been saying that for 2 days, DK. Let me see it this match. It is Rondo. Get those points, get those recalls, and get back into action, soldier. Ooh.
Well, here we are going to go. It is going to be game on, and INF fighting over control of that drop here. But let's see if Legend can get their hands on it. It is going to be Team Liquid, though, facing off with the Resilience as Liquid runs out of players to make anything happen here. But let's see if Resilience can maybe bounce back, as a C could be brought back onto their feet. So this would put them on a 3-piece, unless, of course, there is still a recall available for Molina. So we'll see soon enough how that is going to pan out. But up comes iNCO. So Resilience, oh, they're going to have to try and pass this test, because iNCO is not going to waste any time. Once they catch wind of Resilience there, they might look to commit to that push. But so far, Bruno just going to be keeping their ears open, looking to see if anything is going to come through from Resilience. Of course, the Resilience, they've heard those cars, but they cannot really pinpoint it, at least not for the time being. So there's not quite a recall there to make much use of. But let's see whether or not anything else is going to happen as iNCO continues to push further down south. We do see Game On there ahead of them. Alpha 7 also now starting to move further inwards, but Influence Rage, they found themselves a little bit of action as they get ready to go cooking. You see Felipe already getting picked up. Oh, now comes that send. Is it going to be Influence Rage closing it down? So far, it seems to be an astounding yes, as Bob also gets traded on down. This is now a very difficult spot here for Action to try and survive, but it's going to be up to Hyde to see whether or not they can survive the spray down.
Yes. And here comes, oh, there. Oh, I thought he got sprayed out of that car, but he may be able to get away as a solo for Action. The only team as a solo in Law. Law was trying to spray him down. And we do have Resilience and Influence. Both of them are Faction Brazil down to a player now at this point. Alpha 7 coming up and in. All 4 of them still in this, and they're right here on top of Game On. But there's also another team coming up right on the other side. It is Action. So we have the 4 teams, because I also see iNCO right over here as well. And here they come flying right in, right above Legend. Legend able to stop that. So now we do have Action going out with 1 point, coming in right on top.
Yeah, I mean, Action tried to utilize that recall, but unfortunately it didn't quite go according to plan. Now it is going to be Savage here up on towards the north, just coming in hot behind Zero Mercy. You can see VRZ moving up as well, looking to aggress here, but it is going to be a very, very tough fight, because all these teams are still outside of that blue, and of course the phase is going to start closing up momentarily. Now VRZ paying the fee for the decisions they've made. Not quite sure why they decided to go for a fight on the edge of the blue, instead prioritize that zone positioning. But now Cantera is going to be the last remaining hopeful here to try and make a stand for VRZ. It's going to be Savage looking to break off as they head further back into safety. Still such an interesting angle being held here by the side of Zero Mercy. But yeah, I would say that was a very costly decision being made by VRZ. I'm not quite sure why they decided to go that way, but you know what? Each to their own. In the meantime, it is going to be Influence Rage now feeling all of that pressure coming through, as Alpha 7 and 9Z are going to be looking to pressure them down. But can they survive? Alpha 7 looking to maybe either commit to the engagement or relocate. But there we go. VRZ giving themselves up to the blue zone. I mean, they're probably kicking their toes against the chair, because like, what were they thinking rotating up onto the edge of that blue, especially with a few teams situated right then and there. But hey, well, we are going to jump over to Resilience here, as they are going toe-to-toe with Straight Out of Nepal. Both teams now trying to find the off angle on each other. We can see a little bit of that building pincer coming through, a little bit of ridge play coming in as well, but XP3 is going to be found. Now it's up to Blaze to see, can they get something done? The shot is in though, and that is going to be quite a bit of a difficult situation here now for Resilience to fight back from.
Oh, Straight on Nepal, coming right up and in onto Resilience, but Resilience is now down to just a solo. There goes Faction Brazil out to 13th with 1 elimination. Median over here with several. Oh, he's down to his last nade, but he's still trying to get those nades up and over, trying to get that elimination. And here comes Team Legion Zen. Here comes one header up and around. Knows that they're coming in onto this third party, trying to get some of these knocks, trying to get the eliminate. Oh, and straight out in the ball, going out in 11th. Let's get some momentum, Legion Zen. We know you can do this.
Well played there by Legion Zen, securing themselves a beautiful squad wipe, but of course still a long way to go. As you can see, the zone is going to get ready to pop yet again. It is going to be taking us a little bit more towards that northern side, so Legion Zen don't have to move too far. But iNCO, game on, Influence Rage, Alpha 7, everybody has to make sure that they have a decent spot to call home. It is going to be Miloa holding on for 9Z. Is going to get quite challenged here as you see the sprays, and then from iNCO raining down in their direction. TGAMES though going to go for a little bit more of a northern rotation, heading up towards Savage. Not quite sure what the play is here, but Savage are going to try and just push forward up in towards the zone. Meanwhile, it is going to be Influence Rage now, feeling those shots, just nipping at the heels. Up comes the play, potentially maybe now from Padil. But can Padil get it in as Diego starts to expand, looking to clear the region? It is going to be Zero Mercy, the next team to fall as we now enter the top 9. Almost there, still in it, but can they find some points? iNCO also looking to find just some kind of a connection. They've not been able to have a single elimination, but if you look over onto Almost There, they've been able to find 5. So far, things working out quite well for them, but game on. Still just having to make quite a bit of a decisive play here. They are still so far removed from that zone.
Yes, and it was so interesting to see when this zone popped. Instantly, Influence Rage was moving and headed into that zone. They were on it, and I like seeing that they are really prioritizing zone at this point, because I think these teams are starting to realize that this blue zone damage is almost takes away the recall buff that you get. The damage in this zone is instant almost.
Especially the further we get into the match, the more that blue starts to hurt. But let's see now whether or not Influence can get themselves back on their feet, as it is going to be TGAMES looking to apply the pressure here. 9Z also still just holding on. But up comes TGAMES now, getting ready to commit to the charge. Got to watch out for Alpha 7 there as well, as they still have a bit of a vantage point to try and play off of here. As you can see, guys are now peering in over onto TGAMES. NSC7 rather, getting picked up. The shot's connecting through. Padil, gotta watch out, that rage is only gonna last you so long. But Alpha 7 though, changing up the dynamic here, right? Not getting as aggressive as we've seen. Instead, going for a little bit more of a controlled approach. Game on though, gonna try and double down on the aggression as they get ready, looking for a position, looking for an angle. But they have 2 big beasts ahead of them. It is gonna be iNCO and Alpha 7. So if they want to get the win, they will have to go and earn it.
We do have a lot going on in that center zone as well. We've got 9Z, GLOBANT, Influence Rage, TGAMES. They are all right there in the center zone. They've decided to take that low flat land, and I'm not sure my anxiety can take that. I hope they have a lot of hard cover. I hope they have the emergency covers coming up and in, and we still have Legion Zen outside. We have iNCO game on, Alpha 7. They all need to push up and in, and they may end up right on top of Influence Rage and 9Z, GLOBANT. TGAMES taking over the entire eastern side of this zone. What a split by TGAMES.
I mean, it's so far looking to be somewhat decent, but they're going to have to find a way to fortify their control because we still have quite a few rivals yet to rotate up. Speaking about rivals, it is going to be game on now, getting put to the test here, as they will have to find a way to rotate up. You can see two of their players going for a little bit more of a southern approach, but that is TGAMES ahead of them, so it could be a very short-lived rotation. Now, up comes the push here. It is going to be Zoo to find that play. Oh, almost there. Looking to go up now against the side here of Legion Zen. So far, pretty good defense coming through from Legion, as they are going to try and at least hold on to the edge of zone. Again, not trying to dip in too far, but they just want to get their toes past that white line, because the pressure is going to be on their shoulders here. As you know, just a few minutes to go before the blue will close up completely. So whatever they can do, they have to do it right now. It is going to be almost there, coming through with a bit of retaliation. They found themselves one header. Now Tokyo looking to come through with a response. Oh, is that nade going to find its way in, though? Might fall a little bit short there, but it is still going to be a pretty tough bit of effort that we have to see here then from Legion Zen.
Yes, and with that opening knock from Nicole onto almost there, one header trying to get up and over, but this flat land is just overextends instantly. You just have to be aware of all this topography. We are so flat over here until the nades come up, or we got the emergency cover, and now all the chaos from Alpha 7 deciding to push up and in, and Revo is now the solo for Alpha 7. No, Legion Zen going out in 8th place with 3 eliminations. Almost there, still battered and bruised, coming up right with iNCO, and iNCO coming in. Oh no, the molly from the own teammate, that is always so devastating. And now iNCO punishing that mistake onto almost there. Revo is in a really tough spot. He is outside of that zone. He's got to push up and in. Into Game On, into TGAMES, into Influence Rage, and 9Z GLOBANT. If there's a bad place to come in, it is straightforward for Revo.
Well, we'll find out soon whether or not Revo can make something better happen over here. But for the time being, it's going to be iNCO up onto the north. Oh, the south is going to be pretty brutal as we see Game On getting taken out. Now Alpha 7 holding steady here. Could be a bit of an opportunity for Influence, but both teams now just trying to get themselves patched up. Revo letting loose with the nades, though, trying to reach in over to Federal. Gotta watch out there for 9Z as well, as Maloa is gonna be just trying to hide and stay hidden, at least for the time being. Out comes the smokes. This could be in a bit of an opportunity now for Revo to inch their way further forward. Up they come, sending it over to the side of least resistance. Now looking to send it in, but of course the shot's coming in from across the way as iNCO slams it shot, getting 2 quick hits there, sending 2 teams out in close succession. And with that, iNCO now could look to resurge again with that dominance, as they have still 4 players up. They've got 5 eliminations. INF only holding on to 2. TGAMES, they are going to try and push it. They want to try and get that chicken yet again. But the big question is, who will get it? Because iNCO is so present in this current zone.
And iNCO coming off a win tonight, double wins last night. iNCO is pushing hard in these final games. They are bringing what they've got. Look at this. They are all set up. Look at where they have situated themselves in this zone. They have pinched Influence Rage and TGAMES right on top of each other. They are molding these 2 teams to fight it out, and then they're going to be able to get the third parties.
Well, let's see if that strategy is going to pan out for them. But now, iNCO trying to get a little bit of the action going here. As you can see, Vitale cooking up a nade. Out it goes over to Federal. Does it make the connection? Not quite, but it gets close. It's going to be Federal, who won't be flinching just yet. INF, the numbers not looking too great for them, not necessarily leaning in their favor. But as we know, they could maybe still try and turn this around. It is going to be quite a bit of an uphill battle going against the strong setup that iNCO has here. 7-8, trying to just poke and prod into the side of TGAMES. Ooh, we got to watch out, though. Is not as invisible as he would have hoped. So it is still quite a bit of an active zone. We got INF, TGAMES, not really focusing on each other. Instead, they are going to be trying to deal with the threat coming through here from iNCO. Because I think when either of these teams can get the opportunity to put a bit of a hole into that iNCO side, it does help change the dynamic moving forward into these final few moments as Phase 9 is about to come on in. That blue is going to close just ever so slightly. So Influence Rage will need to get it secured here if they want to move forward and walk away with that winner chicken dinner. But now it is going to get into that go time as it is going to be Diego moving up. 9K spots the angle. Up comes the push. Now they're going to try and smoke it out, get those vehicles prepped and ready to go. The zone is going to start nipping at their heels. Pedrin is going to get hit. Down goes Federal. 9K getting traded off as well. But Deal now trying to hold just on the edge. McGrellan trying to play that dominating position here, trying to see if they can push it through. But Padil and Pedrin just going to try and duck down, stay covered. Meanwhile, Diego's still going to be holding on just on that far side. Can they maybe clutch it up as iNCO now starts to send it forward? Down goes Diego. This is going to be iNCO trying to go for gold as they come in. Only 2 players standing between them. Make that 1 player between them and the winner chicken dinner. Pedil now just up ahead and down he goes as iNCO reigns supreme yet again. Their 4th victory in just these past short matches. Absolute insanity for iNCO.
Unbelievable. iNCO for their number 4 winner chicken dinner in 2 days. 11 matches, or no, 10. 10 because we have 1 more match. So, whoa, iNCO just on fire for these PUBG America challengers.
They've been bringing so much heat onto the battlefield in just these past few days. And so far, iNCO seeming to be the team to try and stop, but they are proving to be an unstoppable force. So big shout out going out to iNCO. Absolutely phenomenal performance. Of course, so many teams try to step it up. You got to give it up to TGAMES, right? They had a pretty good showing over on Miramar, trying to bring it in again, coming on towards Rondo, finishing strong. But is that going to be enough, right? Will we see TGAMES move a little bit further up those standings? Of course, only time will tell. But we are going to focus on iNCO, at least for now, right? We've been shining the spotlight on them quite a bit. But, well, they keep performing, so we have no other choice, right? We've got to keep on looking at them. But speaking of which, let's hop into that team stat breakdown as we will see the distribution of eliminations coming through. Bruno, again, going to try and capitalize on the chaos, the carnage, walking away with those 4 eliminations. So that does put them on 9 eliminations total. So a very strong showing coming through from iNCO. Unfortunately, not hitting the double-digit elims. But I mean, they had 90 eliminations already coming into this match. So adding 9 to that just keeps them 1 away from breaking a century with the aggression alone.
Unbelievable. They did break double digits on their nade usage, though. Look at the beautiful spread of damage, all of them putting in the work. But the thing that I keep watching over and over again is how iNCO sets themselves up. They dominate these final zones, DK. It is such an amazing thing to see how they take these fights, how they set their teammates up. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, you got to commend the effort coming through here from iNCO Gaming. Really, really good strategies, if we have to say so ourselves. And of course, speaking about which, here we have that play now. As we look at the overall points, we can see iNCO picking up 19 points versus the 22 that we've seen from them before. Influence Rage had 17 previously. They get 17 again this time around, so gotta love it for them. TGAMES though coming through with 14, so a nice bit of a step up on their end. Game On keeping it pretty hot and concise as well, managing to walk away with those double digits. Zero Mercy though coming through with 9 eliminations all the way down that board. But here we go, 4 games done and dusted. We saw 9Z GLOBANT, we saw TGAMES, and then of course the back-to-back victory coming through from iNCO Gaming, looking to double down on everything that they can find. But the big question is, Green, can iNCO Gaming go for 3? Can they get the final chicken dinner for the day?
I'm starting to believe that they most certainly can. We do have to watch for them because they had double winner chicken dinners yesterday, and also straight out of Nepal they had double winner chicken dinners yesterday. I want to see straight out of Nepal clutch it up today as well, as long as these right hand sides move up, get some eliminations, get the momentum. We are running out of time, but it is break, and we will be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. We are headed into tonight's final match. This is day 2 of finals. DK, talk to me and tell me about these rankings.
Yeah, as we can see, iNCO, they are just absolute monsters, right? They've been able to lock on and just bring it all in. Of course, no change between iNCO and Alpha 7. Both teams still holding into that pole position. But we do see a few other moves coming through. Almost there, moving up. We had Zero Mercy moving up, TGAMES, 9Z GLOBANT, and Influence Rage. Influence, of course, just going into a little bit of a back and forth there alongside Straight Out of Nepal. Both teams had 93 points heading into the previous match. So good to see Influence Rage managing to come on at the top of that. Action also tried a little bit, right? They got themselves just that 1 point in the previous game. So unfortunately, not enough of a move coming through for them, but still looking quite decent with regards to the overall aggression. Now we got to look over on towards that right-hand side to see who's going to be bringing it in, because Green, we're running out of time, we're running out of matches, and I believe whatever's not been done by today, right, if there's not been enough of a movement coming through from any of the teams, not enough of a gap closure happening here today, tomorrow they're going to have to bring in a few magicians, because outside of that, I don't really see it happening.
Yeah, with iNCO putting that bar so high today, even smash points will be impossible for some of these teams. So they... Oh, DK, I don't know what to expect this last match of tonight as we head into Erangel. Are we going to see absolute carnage? Are we going to see a lot of strategy? Are we going to see some of these teams really get some eliminations or eliminated early?
Well, yes, and yes, right?
Right.
To all the above, right? That is the easiest way to answer all the questions in one go, but I would expect to see all of that, right? I expect to see the teams bring in quite a bit of aggression, bring in something that could resemble a dominating performance, right? Because I think realistically, that is the only way that you can contest against what iNCO and Alpha 7 have been doing here, right? Straight Out of Nepal, they've been trying so far, but they are trailing by 29 points. So that is quite a bit of a gap to try and close up. So maybe that's 39 points. I don't know. That is quite a bit of a big gap here, but I'm not going to try and do too much math just yet. So are the teams going to be able to secure what they need to do to bring it in and maybe stand a bit of a chance come tomorrow? I don't know. Hopefully, I would love to say yes, but of course, as we know, it's all going to come down to what the teams are able and capable of doing, stepping into this final few games, because there are gaps starting to happen here. And I mean, I'm afraid that it might get a little bit too wide to try and close that gap still in today's games.
Yeah, and we know that Straight Out of Nepal and Team Liquid have been both fighting over that Milta area. Are we going to see another hot drop there? Are we going to see one of these teams that they are both right up there, that they want to stay close to iNCO, because iNCO and Alpha 7 are just raising the bar. Do these teams want to take that early fight, or are they going to switch up their drop spots this time? That's one of the questions I have. So I have so many questions going into this final match today.
Hopefully we'll have some answers come through as well, but I realistically see only two strategies working out here in this final match of the day, right? One team is going to, so the two strategies are the hunters and the hunted. That's it, right? Some of the teams are going to step it up and just go for gold. And realistically, this is where I would imagine the teams that are on the right side to try and be the hunters, right? Because they have quite a bit of control here, right? They get to decide who's going to be sitting at the top of the board and who will not be sitting there, right? So if they step up and they go look to go challenge a few teams, right? If VRZ decides, you know what, I'm going to go for Alpha 7, they can. They can go for Alpha 7. They got to bring their game with them, but they can go for Alpha 7, right? So there's so many opportunities available to these teams on that right-hand side. It is not the end of the day for them, right? They now have the power. They now have the say in what happens with not only the final match of the day, but what happens with tomorrow. Because as we know, as we've mentioned already, tomorrow's Smash Rule comes into play. We also have the Golden Rule coming into play. And for those of you who don't know what Golden Rule is, that is where the viewers have a say, or the supporters have a say as to what happens to the last few matches of tomorrow. So be sure to keep an eye out for that. That is going to be quite an exciting future coming through here in this event as well. But yeah, it's all going to boil down to how the teams can kind of look to bring themselves into this final match. Will iNCO get a 5th victory, or could Influence Rage maybe, for instance, get their first winner chicken dinner? Wolves could also look to get themselves one, because looking at the point situation, they were, of course, tied with 9Z GLOBANT. So there is going to be a golden opportunity for either of those teams to try and bring a little bit of movement in onto this board. We could also even extend that out to Team Liquid, right? There could be a chance for them to do a little bit of something here, because essentially everybody up in the top 8, aside from 2 teams, have winner chicken dinners.
And we know that these teams over there on the right-hand side, we know that they've got the skills. We've been talking about it for 2 days. We know this. We watched them all last week. Able to take on these teams, able to get these points, able to get these chicken dinners. So we know that they've got it. Will they bring it? Will they get that momentum going? Because we are running out of time for them to get the momentum, to get enough points. The bar is so high now.
I think the time for momentum is starting to run out, but of course, speaking about which, it is time for us now to see what is going to happen as we'll hop into this final showcase of the day, the final opportunity for the teams to make it all happen right then and there, starting off just on the side of Severny, heading down just past Quarry. So it is going to be an interesting distribution here for the players to get themselves all situated. But yeah, the big kicker, of course, as per usual, is going to be where that zone is going to be taking us and who will be able to control it.
It looks like we've already got a hot drop over in Severny between Savage Esports and VRZ. So we're going to have a drop there. Will Team Liquid and Straight on NEPAL go to Milta? Where are these teams going to go that go over to that? Oh, VRZ down to just a solo now. And it is Savage coming right up onto Dreams. He does have that Vector, but he's only got 19. And now he's switching over. I don't think Dreams knows whether he wants to use the Vector or that pump shotty. But here comes Savage coming right up those stairs, a duo. And we even have the exploding ball that took him down to about 5 HP. VRZ going out in 18th place. And we did lose one of the goats from Savage. And now we do have Resilience right over here. And they are in a fight with, is it TGAMES? I can't see. They are moving so fast. It is Faction Brazil right over here. And Resilience up to 2 eliminations already with pistols and a VSS.
Yeah, it is going to be a pretty tough start for a few of our squads here, but I am going to be looking over on towards that western bridge where we can see a little bit of pressure now building as we have TGAMES stepping up. That is, of course, 9Z feeling a lot of that being applied to them. As Cole and their teammate going to be looking to maybe get a little bit of a different situation happening here. Got to watch out for them trees, though. In the meantime, it is going to be Resilience already sitting with 2 eliminations up, looking to see if they can maybe get even more of a continuation here onto the side of Faction. They have been able to get that knock, but now Fausto is going to be the final defender, looking to carry the torch here. And widespread coming through from Resilience. I like this dynamic from them. Not committing to sending one player in. Instead, they are trying to change it up, and maybe this could be a very good change for them.
Yes, we do see that they are pushing up and around. They're making, ooh, here comes the push, DK. They're coming up, a duo. And here they come. They hitting. Fausto gives that position away, takes those shots as they go running past the door. 3 of them are now coming up the steps, and Fausto down to 1 HP. And here they come. Oh, but could not hold them off. Faction Brazil going out in 17th place with the emote on his crate. The disrespect.
Yeah, that is sometimes just what happens, right? I mean, I think a little bit more of a disrespectful play would be to get finished with a pan. That's pretty close to that. It's just up there. But you know what? It is what it is. In the meantime, we are going to be looking over to the Wolves here, looking to find a little bit of a setup. They do have 2 players up here in Lebovka. The rest, of course, looking to find that next position to rotate in towards. As we can see, Baton way off on that far southern side. We see Koops a little bit further up north of Farm. So an interesting spread here from the Wolves. Not quite sure what the plan is, but we'll find out soon. In the meantime, it is going to be Zero Mercy and Team Liquid getting ready for a little bit of a showdown, as INF is right here in the mix as well. So 3 teams now contesting for control of the compounds here, but only one will be able to do so. It does seem like INF are going to look to disengage. No, it has just been a psych, as they've just rotated back on in here, looking to play the high ground. And this could spell disaster for whomever manages to survive this engagement.
Or any of the Knocks or any of these players that are on the outside of these 1 stacks, and they are still pushing up and in. Oh, there goes Team Liquid out in 14th with only 1 elimination. But the elimination was onto Zero Mercy Salman. We know that Salman is one of the stronger fraggers of Zero Mercy. But now we do have... No, I do think that... INF did move up and around. Alpha 7 coming right up into Rozhok, right into Action. Action taking out the 2 players from Alpha 7. Alpha 7 on a 2-2 split on this hill. But Ribbo coming out and around with that S12, trying to get some, does get quite a bit of damage onto Action, but Action is still up to a full 4-man team. All 4 of them mostly good health too. So now, yeah, we hear the shots coming across the bridge, as we also have another team. iNCO also coming up along that ridge line. So we have Alpha 7, Action, and iNCO right here on this north side of Rozhok, up in the barn at the shop, and Action in the Superman Tower.
Well, let's see whether or not Alpha 7 can survive the push here, as iNCO has decided to rather stick to the north. Now, Action still holding on a bit of a spread here, but they are getting distracted, as they are firing shots off in different directions. Now trying to just keep everybody at bay. But they got to focus up. Goes Alpha 7. If you give them enough time, they are going to come up with a strategy that will kick your butt. So let's see. Can Action lock it in? I did say that the teams here have a lot of control. Action could definitely define the future here for Alpha 7. If they can get the play in, there is currently 40 points separating both these squads. So this engagement will count a lot more for the side of Action, but they will have to do whatever is needed here to get a good, secure play. Guizo not going to feel too phased though, as he has the McLaren at the ready. Is going to prep a bit of a rotate, but are they going to full send it, or are they going to get jumped? Because we do see other teams moving up in the distance. Also then, it is going to be players there from the side of Team Salame starting to move up as well. Guizo now trying to pop out the tires, making sure that if Action is going to do anything, it won't be easy. iNCO, the rest of iNCO is starting to move closer as well. As you can see, those icons now starting to appear in the north. So, I think Action, they might have missed their opportunity here.
Oh, I do think that they missed the opportunity to get out of this building. We have not only iNCO up on that north side, I saw the Wolves rotating over towards that eastern edge, but DK, Zero Mercy in a fight, and they're up to 5 eliminations. Zero Mercy are one of the teams that we over on the other side that we want to see get some of these eliminations. They're in a fight with Game On.
Well, instead we are going to be looking here on to Influence Rage, as they will be moving up. Game On are going to be game over, as it is the end of the road here for them and a few other teams already. Team Liquid, Legion Zen, Savage, Faction, and of course VRZ. So it's now down to the rest of the lobby to see what they can do with the remainder of this match. But it does seem like Influence Rage are going to be chilling up on towards that far western side of the zone. Meanwhile, TGAMES and the Wolves are going to be looking to push just on the side here of Potato Hill. School, of course, just ahead of them. So there could be a bit of an opportunity here for Resilience to maybe get a few additional points. Almost. And 9Z just ahead of that as well. So the teams have to be very cautious how they rotate through here. But for the time being, it is Wolves and TGAMES having a little bit of the Mad Max experience, as everybody's just flying up into the zone, trying to get through the spray as quickly as they possibly can. iNCO, in the meanwhile, are going to be looking to play a little bit more of a strategic position as they find themselves up onto the north, just poking and prodding down in towards that Rozhok side. But again, just trying to keep themselves out of harm's way. They want to see if they can make it into that late stage of the game. They are, of course, going to be opting for a third potential chicken dinner. The first turkey we could see be coming in right here in this event. But now it's going to be action. And Alpha 7 still up in Rozhok. Nothing really changing over there. Again, we said it before. Alpha 7 managing to hold on in action. I feel that they have missed the opportunity to get a controlling angle over on Alpha 7. But, of course, that could change at any point, as the zone is going to be taking us down to that southern side. TGAMES now going to be holding on with a solo at least up in the middle. But can they do anything with that position? Because there are two players. But are they all just crammed up into one vehicle, one little compound up on those hills? Not quite sure here, Green.
Yeah, iNCO just crashed into straight on Nepal. Straight on Nepal. Gatekeeping iNCO, but I did notice that straight on Nepal kind of separated out. So there's not as much firepower for straight on Nepal, stopping iNCO from coming in. And Wolf going down in that background right when I was talking about that. So now straight on Nepal also coming up and in to this Rozhok area where Alpha 7 and Action have already decided to hold this ground and fight. Now Influence Rage down here in that North Pachinki compound. Influence Rage and Nancy GLOBANT over here. Let's see what, almost there, not too far away. Team Salame going out in 12th place. Alpha 7 going out to Action. I just saw the S12K or S12K onto Revo. There we go. I can say this, DK. I know I can.
The numbers, yes, they are sometimes quite tricky to say quickly. But yeah, there we go. So well done to Action. It took them a hot minute, but they did it eventually. Influence Rage also going to be packing up 9Z right then, and there, game done. Here we go. Top 9. It's going to be TGAMES now looking to push on forward. It's going to be Zero Mercy right in front of them as the Inspector gets found. One down, a few more to go. Nightmare just going to be holding on that far side, but it is going to be Pedrin trying to survive. It is a very difficult position to be in, as we can see. The health not looking too great here. But so far, it doesn't seem like they will get rushed just yet. It is, of course, Bob moving a little bit closer as Action now starts to expand their play. Zero, or rather straight out of Nepal, going to be moving through those Rozhok hills, looking for a bit of an angle. They know that iNCO is right alongside them. Can they find any angles now to try and bring a little bit of that pressure on through? Almost there, just ahead here of Wolves as well. As the Wolves are kind of just relying on the elevation they have. Ooh, but an interesting spread, though, with Coops all the way up towards the north. Not quite sure what the angle is, but we'll find out soon, as TGAMES are going to be the next team down, as Action has now started hunting for them. Down they go. It's going to be now a little bit of a further extent here coming through from Action, as they've heard the shots coming from straight out Nepal. iNCO just there as well. Nightmare also eventually going to have to make a bit of a move, as the blue zone is going to close on up. But now down to the final few teams we go. Almost there. Pretty decently set up with the current center zone setup here. But of course that pop is going to come in momentarily, and that will take us to the next position. I think we might have something happening there with Resilience, as they are managing to hold on to School. And almost there, now going to be in prime real estate in the zone.
Yes, and we've already got the Wolves, except for Doran over there at the apartments. And luckily there's nobody over at the apartments with him. But now this whole north side are going to be crushing down in iNCO, straight out of Nepal. Action. Will they go over to that school to take the school compound? It does look like Action is headed straight to almost there. Almost there is going to have to hold that compound, because they also have Wolves right on top of them uphill.
Well, it's not going to be an easy play for any team at this point, but it is going to be iNCO now trying to make the most out of it as they start to push on forward. Straight out of Nepal. Blaze now just trying to lock them down. Up they come with the angle. Blaze could maybe pick up McGrillen here as well. iNCO still holding on to that three pieces. Bruno and Vitali also start to peel out of the vehicle, but XP3 could help alleviate a lot of this pressure. But Oliver has been found, and iNCO not going to let it loose just yet, as they keep on riding on the ridge. But the blue is going to start nipping at their heels, so Vitali and McGrillen need to make the push as they start to go up. Out in the open they are. McGrillen now the last one left here for iNCO. iNCO seeing that opportunity of a third victory now just potentially going up in flames, as the grenade just narrowly gets evaded here by McGrillen. XP3 is still up on the window, posing a major threat for the success here of iNCO. Up comes the blue, continuing to force their hand. It is going to be a quick send here from straight out of Nepal, but Blaze gets the hit, and that is iNCO down. 2 eliminations going over to them. Not that they needed any points. They were already leading with 37 ahead of Alpha 7. Now Blaze is going to follow suit here as Action locks it in, and off they go. Down to the top 6 we are. We're on phase number 5, and the teams are bringing in so much heat right now. It's going to be Action now leading the charge with 8 eliminations up. INF currently sitting with 6. Resilience not too far away from them, but well, the top 2 teams all have lost a player along the way. So there is a bit of an opportunity for the rest of the lobby now to fight back. Almost there. This is their chance to do something with the setup that they have here. But they've not been able to find a single elimination so far in this game.
No, but Wolves still in this prime position right above Resilience. They know where Resilience are. That they know that there's a team playing right down below in these compounds. Even Baton going across that compound just to the south of him, or north of him, down the hill. So these teams, we are down to the top 5, as you said, in Action is bringing it. They are up to 8 eliminations, and they are just coming right on through. Will Action try to go into that compound where almost there is, or are they going to try to go across and get into that school compound?
Well, we'll find out soon whether or not anything is going to happen in the zone, as the Wolves are mobilized over on towards the eastern side, influence up on towards the southern edge, but they do have the elevation. Baton now getting spotted out, but fortunately managing to evade it, at least for the time being. But this is the Wolves now finding themselves in quite a bit of a predicament, because they are going to be trying to pressure Resilience. So far, they also have to focus on that zone positioning. So Marion and the rest here of Resilience all kind of just pinched in. They're building as they're trying to get the vehicles ready to go, but not quite sure which way to go, as that monster truck is going to be blocking their way out of this, and this could be them just getting delivered to the slaughter as the vehicle gets moved out of the way. But all the action and focus now on them as the sprays continue to rain in. The Wolves absolutely relentless with their position here. And of course, they have quite a bit of an advantage. Let's see, can they capitalize and make it theirs, as there are still 4 other squads to contest against. Resilience managing to get at least 2 out, but it is going to be now Cardi C getting hit here, as Almost There is going to try and lock it down. Action also up towards the north, but the shots continue to rain on down. Resilience down to a duo, as there's just way too much pressure over on towards this western side.
Yes, as they try to come across this wide open golf course, they are getting punished by Almost There. Almost There has been set up. They are getting zone blessed, but the Wolves were pushed over out of zone by Influence, so we need to get the Wolves back up and trying to get Influence pushed back on down so that the Wolves can get that upper ground if they want it just to the and Resilience going out in 5th place with 5 eliminations. Influence now right over the top of Action as Action comes up and across this wide open golf course as well. Action trying to figure out where the Wolves rotate, and the Wolves, they went to center zone. They went up and into this compound. Influence Rage taking over this high ground. They still have the high ground. They are right on the edge of the zone.
I think for Influence, this is a prime position to be in. It allows them quite a bit of visibility down onto the remaining teams. But the big question is going to come through here. What will Action do, as that zone is going to be closing up very soon? And they only have so much information as to where the other teams are situated. It's going to be the Wolves and Almost focusing in on each other as they await the send to make its way through here. Now, up comes the push, the play, the angle. Oh, it is going to be Bob trying to lock it in, but so far instead getting met with quite a bit of aggression here as Lil Boy gets found. Down they go. There's still a bit of opportunity available to them, but it is INF still now trying to hug onto that high ground. The blue is going to shift the zone. It's going to take us north, and this is Influence Rage now in a world of trouble, because how on earth are they going to rotate in here? All the points that they can look to push into already occupied, and of course the other open options are already well covered. As you can see, the sprays just raiding on through. Action, the first team to push for that open eastern side. The Wolves now just absolutely doubling down. Up comes Federal, and the rest of INF still going to be looking to push further and further afield, but we do see Philippe getting picked up as well. So the option here for Action is going to be to try and find an alternate route back into safety. Influence also feeling quite a bit of pressure here. There is no cover to use, no angle to utilize, as it is going to be the players from the Wolves and Almost There just looking to rip into the side of them.
Yes, and you saw that Influence Rage came right up and in onto Action as Action tried to get both sides of the street and the sight lines along here, and Influence Rage just shut that down. Influence Rage now taking over this very far eastern edge, but they are in the sight lines of the Wolves. But here they come, pushing right up and into the Wolves, and Action down to a solo player. Hyde now facing right between, getting sandwiched in between the Wolves and Influence Rage. They've got Almost There just on the other side. Almost There still in this compound, blessed by this compound after zone, but now the neighbors to their east are making quite the party.
Well, let's see what is going to come through for the side of Action. Already 12 eliminations up, so it is looking pretty good for them. I mean, they might look to considerably close that gap and get that much closer to the top 3. But it is going to be the Wolves looking to try and claw their way through here, as they need to bring Doran back into the fight. So it is going to be Coops and Doran left to defend. But now, Almost There, they've been quiet for a good long while. They've not been doing all too much just yet, but this is their opportunity, their time to shine. Can they find it? Can they capitalize and secure the final victory here for today? We'll find out very soon, as it is now the Wolves just awaiting that zone to come through. Phase 9 just around the corner, And that means that this game is about to be over. Any one of these teams can still potentially secure themselves the victory. But for Hyde, it is looking pretty grim. Now, it is going to be grenades, utilities, sticky bombs, and everything else in between. Looking to get set up here. Out comes that zone closure. So for Diego, things have just become a lot more challenging. Almost there. Also going to find quite a bit of a tough rotation ahead of them. And I think Influence Rage are going to look to capitalize on the vulnerability here from almost there.
And look at Influence Rage on this full eastern edge. They've got the entire eastern edge locked down. So if any of these teams have to come outside, have to move from these compounds, Influence Rage has every angle covered. From the north to the south, all along this eastern edge, action going out in 4th place, but they had 12 eliminations, starting all the way up into Rozhok and working their way down, and that is not very far to get 12 eliminations in this.
Yeah, not an easy feat, but, you know, still a valiant effort coming through from them. Now it is going to be go time, though. It is going to be almost there, having to live up to their hype. Oh, Darn getting spotted out as Lil Boy pushes in and finds the angle. It's all now up to Coops to see if he can make it work. It is going to be Diego to find Beret, and this is now almost there, feeling everything just coming down on their shoulders as Coops quickly tries to get a little bit of a ground. Moving up top, but that nade comes through, and that's the end of the Wolves. Almost there. Still trying everything they can here, but they are going to have to face off against the side of Influence Rage. There's going to be one player standing between Influence Rage and their first winner chicken dinner in the finals. Coming in clutch, coming in hot, making sure that they mean business. They came in with everything available to them, and they just went out and got it. The first victory for Influence Rage in the past 2 days of the finals. Absolutely amazing work getting done right here. But the big question is, Green, how much of a change is this to the overall standings? How many points were they able to secure in just this last match? Yes, we saw the eliminations. Yes, we know what the placement points are. But can they change it up? Can they close that gap that iNCO has been able to establish in all these past matches?
I don't know, DK. I don't know. iNCO has so much of a lead. But if you remember, DK, the entire Continental stage, Influence Rage was dominating. So now that Influence Rage has got some momentum, what are they going to do tomorrow? Are they going to push ahead? That was such a clutch play ending. The placement, the positioning of each player, getting all those angles. They had each other in their sight lines. And then when they had to come out of that compound, Influence Rage just took over.
Yeah, and that's what they did right then and there. And of course, looking at the performance here, it is going to be a very even contribution coming through from both Federal and Lil Boy, each bringing their fair share to the table. But it is, of course, Diego to be the shining star for the squad. As you can see, a very strong performance there. 5 eliminations up, 500 damage. Lil Boy just being an absolute menace out on the battlefield with 942 damage, almost hitting 1,000. So some pretty hot and spicy gameplay that we've been able to see here, thanks to Influence Rage. But the big question is, of course, right, can they keep this momentum moving forward into tomorrow's games? You got to give it up to the Wolves as well, right? The Wolves, they tried really hard coming into the end of this game to try and lock it in, to secure a bit of a pathway moving forward. But unfortunately, it was just out of reach for them. Action also brought quite a bit of that heat in as well. So we could see a little bit of a change coming through with regards to those rankings. But we'll see exactly what that is as the match standings now comes in. It is going to be a glorious 22 points going over to them. Now, where we look at the rest, it is going to be Action picking up 16 points. So adding to the overall tally, things might definitely be shifting. Almost there. I like what they've brought in here as well, right? It was quite some time since we've last seen Almost There bringing in a bit of a strong play. I mean, they were able to make it all the way to the tippity end of this game, but as we've mentioned, they've been zone blessed. So we want to see a bit more of that coming into the final day of play here. But yep, the teams overall doing a pretty good job. Team Salame, Faction Brazil, unfortunately having to go back with nothing to show for this game other than saying that they've been there. And the rest of the squads, though, slowly but steadily adding to the overall tally. But the big question is, of course, how much of an impact has this made on those rankings?
Right, and the amount of almost there, the amount of zones that they were able to stay in that compound and hold that compound down right up to that finish. But like I said, Influence Rage, just the placement, it was great to see that. But I am so happy to see almost there, up there. We've seen often enough that these players can do this.
Yeah, and speaking about doing this, here are the players that has done the most of this. It is iNCO Vitali coming through with 32 eliminations total. We've got McGrellin hard on their heels with 30. Diego also then on 30. Felipe coming through with 25. And Revo closing it up there with 22 total eliminations. So a very strong performance coming through from these players. But Vitali doing a stand-up job here. 4,600 damage, almost hitting the 4,700. So, yep, a lot of aggression has been shown across the board. And, of course, it is easy to understand why the top teams are sitting where they're sitting. As we can see, their presence all over the place. But it is going to be iNCO sitting quite comfortably on 170 points, managing to hold on to their lead. Alpha 7, no change there aside from the 4 points they've been able to add on. But it is Influence Rage ensuring that they close the gap, only 2 points away from catching up to Alpha 7. But the big question is, Green, will they be able to close that gap come tomorrow? Because as we can see, sitting with a 36-point gap, it is going to be increasingly more challenging. And I'm pretty sure iNCO are going to be packing all the heat in that they can find. Action, though, they've been able to jump ahead of straight out of Nepal, also just joining up into the Sentry, as we now have 5 teams sitting quite comfortably here. Wolves also not too far away. They started out in 7th. They are now up to 6th place. So a slight little increase in the overall situation here for them. Zero Remorse also jumping up from 14th up into 12th place. Resilience going from 11th to 10th. So, you know, no major jumps or leaps being secured here for the teams over on that right-hand side. But tomorrow is going to be the big day to see, can the teams on the right-hand side play the deciding positions? Can they control what happens to the teams over on that left-hand side?
Yeah, like Zero Mercy, they do have a chance to really put some kinks into that left-hand side so that anything can happen tomorrow. I am so excited to see what these teams are going to bring. And then we got Smash Points. We've got the Golden Ticket. We got all these things that are coming in tomorrow that are just going to make so much more of a difference in these last few matches that they'll be playing tomorrow. 5 more matches or less, DK.
Yeah, 5 more matches or less. So it's all going to come down to it. But looking at iNCO so far, with the gun setup that we've got here, if iNCO gets a win when the Smash rule kicks in, if they reach those points and they get the win, the victory is there. So it is going to be pretty tough for Alpha 7 and Influence Rage to catch up, but they can do it. But the big question is, will they be able to, right? And of course, all of that will be revealed tomorrow when we step into the last day of the finals, day number 3, and the last few games to have it all be decided. So be sure to join us back again for more insane PUBG Mobile action brought to you right here in the PUBG Mobile America's Challengers. Until then, we'll see you all back again tomorrow.
Good night, everyone.